Yeah, because
I think the oldest one's got
Cheers.
sign writing.
Yeah, cheers. Right, we'll get it going.
Yeah.
We're away. Oh, well, I declare the council meeting open. Welcome to the members of the public at the back, staff and the media. I call for apologies.
Councillor Dean Crosty.
No further apologies. Would someone like to move that we accept that? Councillor Graham, seconded Councillor Harrison. All those in favour?
Aye.
Carried. Deputy Mayor Kennedy, would you like to do the opening karakia or whakatauki, please? Or, sorry, Harrison, Councillor Harrison.
Thank you. Okay, this is my first one, so bear with. E te whānau, whaia te matoranga, kia marama, kia whai take nai mahi katoa, tu maia, tu kaha, aroha atu, aroha mai, tātou I a tātou katoa.
Kia ora. Thank you, Councillor Harrison. And apologies for that, we bundled. Urgent business or late items? Any declarations of interest? No declarations of interest. Right, we will move on, but just before the public forum, we've got a couple of presentations here to do. Steve, would you?
So Jordan, if you could come forward, and your worship, you know. So Jordan's in a sort of catch-up program, aren't you, Jordan? Promotions officer in the department that we've just been looking at in community development through the strategy in that sense. Jordan's been catching up in terms of the STARS program and for her particular activity, and as such now actually ends up for all their hard work in terms of the award for the bronze award for her activity.
Congratulations.
You're like the rest of us now, Jordan, on the same path. And then, your worship, if we could just have our building and regulatory administration team, that's your technical term for the moment until we change it again, isn't it, team? If you'd like to come forward. And I think Olivia's going to do the honours for the wording for this one, worship.
Olivia's. This is the same team that won the award the other week.
For the boxes.
The boxes.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Olivia, if you could explain.
Just the run
Yes,
of the
yeah.
stars. Right, speak to you guys to do this. So this is a massive congratulations to this team. They were part of the pilot program, so one of the first teams to do Clue for Stars and go through that. So it's so exciting that they're here today. It's only the second team to get silver, so it's a big achievement, guys. I've just got a few words to say about them. So you're a high-performing team. You operate semi-autonomously, which is a big part of Clue for Stars. And even when we've had gaps in leadership or resourcing, you've kept going. You've been really resilient. You've maintained 100% quarterly stats for multiple years, which is wonderful for our customers and for our performance. And you demonstrate commitment to our the District Council values. You speak up if you see something that's not quite right. And you're positive and encouraging to the whole department. We really appreciate you there. You genuinely care about customers, and that's shown in our feedback that we got in the surveys that we had to do as part of Clever Stars. And you're goal-driven, and we see lots of continuous improvements. You always look for ways to do better, whether it be through our documentation, what we can do with the public, just all sorts of positive things, which we really appreciate. You've had two big major system implementations, so that's with Datascape and Objective Build, which is always pretty challenging bringing on new technology, but despite all of that, you've kept going and working towards your silver, and you're always so proactive and thinking about what it takes to be a good staff member and also be good for the organisation, for the public as well. And now we've got the latest leadership of Jill in the team, so Jill is the icing on the cake for achieving silver, and I'm super excited because I know the leadership we've got from Jill and the amazing mahi that the team have already done, that they're just going to keep going from strength to strength. So I'm so proud. Good job, guys.
Look at that. Well done.
Thank you.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and also Karen Anderson was a big part of this team, but Karen was also one of the staff that had the mystery shopping that for when we got second place recently. So she's a high achiever, but she's on leave this week. But she'd already had her moment trying to counsel for the year. So
Well done. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Your Worship.
We'll move on to the public forum, and I would welcome the Dunedin Tracks and Trails Trust. If you'd like to come up here to the rostrum, that'd be lovely, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Right, now we've got a PowerPoint presentation.
Yes, that's the one.
That's the one?
Thank you. Do we operate that, or are you just going to flick it?
Oh, go. You just tell me.
We're going to flick through pretty
when to
quickly.
change it.
Okay. All right. So with the Dunedin Tracks and Trails Trust, we actually operate under the name the Tracks Network Trust. We're a charitable, not-for-profit organisation, and we have a vision. Is to connect all the trails between Alps to Ocean right through into Queenstown. Okay. So I'm Paul Coffey. I'm the chair of the trust.
I'm Emily Cambridge, secretary.
And I'm Rachel Elder, former city councillor who set up the trust because I realised that we needed to get this done.
We're an overarching trust, and we work with local people to develop their trail. So who should be here today, but they can't be because of family commitments, is Kevin Thompson and Dean McElwell. They would like to be here to speak in more detail, but they can't do that themselves. Okay. So we want a connected, safe route on what we've just said from Alps to Ocean right through into Queenstown. There's new opportunities, economic opportunities, there's new adventures, and we will also have stewardship. So the first slide showed our trail that we've built, 4.3 kilometres from Waitati up to Mopanui Road. On Sunday, we had 20 people planting 1,200 plants and then putting sacks over them. So here's the map of the regional network that we want you to endorse.
So this is in the Otago Southland Regional Land Transport Plan as in the actual plan and endorsed in that plan. So when you're looking at strategic plans, you can use that because in fact it's actually endorsed by the Regional Land Transport Plan and through the Regional Council. So it's a good thing to go back to.
900 kilometres of cycling. This rivals riding down the Rhine or anything in Europe, basically. Okay. The benefits have been proven. You will know from the benefits that now Milton and Waihola are getting, plus Lawrence, you already know those benefits. And we believe by continuing on, those benefits to Milton and Waihola will be even greater. Okay. Where we're at is we're close to finalising consent from Mosgiel to Outram, and now we're starting on the work for the consent and a business case from Outram through the airport to Waihola.
There is a real need for and a desire for airport to airport because people can land in Queenstown and then leave from Dunedin Airport.
As you can see, we'll talk to anyone and everyone basically who will listen, and this is part of that process, coming to ask you for support. Okay. So as I've just said, this is where we're at with the Clutha Gold extension so far. If we're going north, we're about to apply for resource consent from going from the Orokonui Eco Sanctuary down into Port Chalmers. That will link eventually through to Wakawaiti, and then we'll just keep going up the coast or coming down the coast, whichever way is easiest to do it from. So what do we want from you guys? We want you to endorse the concept as a regional concept, not just as a local. But we want you to work with the other councils and the other mayors to do that, to lobby to central government. We want you to be part of that lobbying for funding. We're not asking you for money at this stage. I can't promise we won't, but we will come to your long-term plans. We want it in your planning system, so that we can then wave it in front of central government and say, this has been endorsed. This is a good idea. You know, Clutha, Waitaki, and Dunedin believe in this concept, and we know that it works.
We just want to enforce that it's that strategic vision and planning that we're keen to tap into, because that helps strengthen our case in the business case world.
So if all the councils in their long-term plan endorse the strategic idea of getting from Waihola to Oamaru, it means that when you go for anything, it's already there. Because when you go for money, they want to know that all the local councils, doesn't matter about the detail of the line, but the idea is endorsed by that council. Because what the government's looking for, and that's Labor and National, is regional ideas and regional visions, because in fact that's more effective. If we all work together, you get 130,000 people live in Dunedin, and they can be spread across the region, and the whole region benefits from people going to and from Queenstown and Dunedin and across through the whole community. And so if all the councils have it in their long-term plans and endorse it in their transport plans as a piece of infrastructure that enables both the economy to grow, our health and well-being to grow, and in Otago, 89% of people get healthy through walking, and 50% of the people who go on trails are walkers. 40% get healthy through jogging and running, who go on the trails, and 40% go cycling, which is higher than any other region.
So we must have done our 5 minutes. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions, councillors, for the team? Councillor Coppell.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you for presenting today. Have you spoken to the other two councils involved?
Yes, we have.
And
yes.
What was your reception?
Again, they will endorse it as a regional concept. Again, we haven't asked them physically for money. However, the Dunedin City Council did put in their last long-term plan $50,000 a year for a 9-year plan for us to do preliminary work. So that allows us to, to work with the landowners to get the resource consent in, to work with other stakeholders. The stuff we can't do, the business case that you don't get the funding for. So you need to do that to get the resource consent before you can go to the philanthropic trust, and then we'll be going to the central government as well.
So just a further question, what is the length of trail between Waihola and the council boundary with Dunedin?
That's where we need Dean and Kevin here, because that detail I don't physically have. So basically, Tea Tree Road, then around the edge of the wetlands, and somewhere we've got to jump.
Over the main road.
We're thinking Waipori. Yeah, the main road is quite nasty where Tea Tree Road comes out to get across there, and two related to flooding to actually be able to tunnel under it as well. So we're just but that still hasn't been fully determined. That route.
Thank you.
Councillor Graham.
Through you, Mr. From memory, you people have come here before.
Yes, we have.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Your land transport plans, and I can't remember what else we've been here for.
Part of the trail north of Waihola was going to involve cutting a considerable bit off a corner of the road or something, or has that been changed?
I think we made it in 23, we made an application to the, to your, I think it was your, I don't know which plan it was, about altering some of that tea tree road. Yes, to widen it so that we can stay just along with the edge of the railway line,
So
basically.
is that still your plan? Or hope or dream?
Well, if, you know, it's our dream. Otherwise, we may have to stay on the far side of the railway line and do the expensive boardwalk thing. You know. But they're just options at this stage. They're not finalised.
Thank you.
Councillor McAtamney.
Yep, thank you. 6 Ks, I think, was the,
Thank you.
from memory, was the
Yeah.
number to connect it. So, but you will have to, the Waipori River will require a pedestrian bridge, won't it?
A very large, very long pedestrian bridge. Yes. Will rival the one that they've just opened on the Hocker Valley.
Yeah.
And that's the longest in New Zealand,
Yeah.
190 metres.
That's
But ours
what we're
isn't.
being told by
Ours
the
isn't.
Yeah.
same people who built the Hocker Valley one. Yeah.
It's the only option, isn't it?
Yes, we can't get back. It's that we can't get to the far side downstream of the State Highway 1 or downstream onto the rail bridges. That would be the two preferred options to clip onto those. But getting there is a real big issue, basically.
Groundwork to be looked at in terms of feasibility.
And then coming back up underneath those or around those is not actually physically possible where it crosses the Waipori, those bridges.
Thank you.
Any further questions, councillors? I've got one. You've got one.
Oh, just, team, just the connection with the Clutha Gold Trail Charitable Trust, in the sense of the connection and that side of it. If we are endorsing or the regional side of things, and obviously for us, that's the biggest part in our district. They run that side of things. It would be important that there's a good, you know, that the two connect well. And that, so for you, have we got any updates or any information around how that's going? You would expect there to be some sort of relationship.
We've had one meeting with them, and then we've kept their employee Shane involved of where we're at. We've met with them a couple of times, again, just to say this is where we're at. Since our meeting with them, nothing physically or technically has changed. So we haven't gone back to them and said we're ready to go from this, because we've been concentrating with the limited resources we have on the Mosgilda outcome at this stage.
So the Mosgilda outcome, how's that going? Is it progressing pretty good?
Well, it's at that resource consent stage. There's been a couple of questions asked by the DCC, and we're about to answer those. Unfortunately, our technical expert, who I think you guys have worked with too, is a guy, Hamish Seaton, who's doing the whale trail at the moment. And he's in the last month of that. And when you're in the last month of a project, you're flat out. He's got all sorts of deadlines and all sorts of things happen. So his time, which has been all voluntary to us, we just haven't had it for the last 3 months, basically.
Right. Oh, so that sounds very positive, your connection.
Oh yeah, I think working with the planner, doesn't appear to be anything that's inhibiting it. It's questions around how close are we going to be to power lines and car parking, for access.
It's pretty much
It's very
there.
close.
Yeah. And also at Outram Glen, the historic park is being developed so that it's a destination on the way. So there's some tracks being put, walking and cycling tracks, and the whole historic bit there is a destination in itself, really. So So that's been developed as part of the whole route.
Mhm.
Mm.
So your connection from Outram to the river, that's a fair distance on its own, isn't it? Like with your past experience from Outram or Mosgiel to Outram, what do you think your timeline is from Outram to Waihola? Like 2 years or 3 years or?
Say two.
Yeah,
Can
we'd
I be
love to say,
optimistic?
yeah, but realistically, you've been around how long, Rachel?
A long time. So
Yeah,
I've been on
so-
this, we started the trust at 5 years ago.
Yeah, so nothing in this field works very fast,
It's not.
you know. So,
We,
you know,
we wish it were.
but, you know, there's negotiation with landowners. We're the organisation that holds the easements in perpetuity. You know, there's a whole series of things that has to happen before you even can go and ask for a resource consent. And then you have to go and ask the funders. So it's not we know this is not overnight. It's not a flash in the pan. This is a marathon.
But it's really exciting, the Chain Hills tunnel being done, and at the start they were getting 800 people a day through the Chain Hills tunnel, and once the Caversham, I mean, I think it really impressed the councillors. They didn't realise how much historic reuse of a train tunnel would attract people, and it's just going gangbusters. And same with this trailway. Waitati up to the Eco Sanctuary, very, very popular. And of course, there's a cafe at both ends, which is always handy. So, yeah, Outram's developing itself in a way like a bit of a destination there as well, which is good because you need those on trails.
This is getting 80 people a day, it's in the middle of nowhere. You know. And yes, it certainly is local. It's mostly walking dogs and doing things like that. But that's the case on most of the trails where they're near a centre that locals do use it for their own exercise. So it exceeded our expectations at this level because you go up, you either go down a more difficult one or you go out to the Eco Sanctuary. You know, it's not connecting anywhere yet.
Right. Councillor Graham.
Yeah, through you. What's the physical distance from Outram to, say, Waihola?
I think it's about 15k.
That all?
Yeah, it's not far.
No, it's bigger than that. It's 40
Is
something.
it-
It's 40 something. It is 40 something, isn't it? Yeah.
15 to the airport.
Yeah, I think it's 15 to the airport and then another
Yeah.
15 on
It's
it.
not an optimum distance or ideal distance. I think I heard somewhere 40k that between that cyclists travel a day.
That was the case before electric bikes.
Oh,
And I don't know what it is with electric bikes, so I'm not, I haven't seen any stuff saying how that has changed and how that's affecting the providers along the way, because it used to be 40k was, you know, and it was from 10 o'clock till 2 o'clock, basically. That's when people were on it. I think that's changed slightly because of the electric bikes. They can generally do more than that 40k and people can definitely go up the hills easier. So I can't give you a figure, an estimate.
Leave Outram and do their 40k and stay in, I don't know, cabins at the park or something like that, and rather than carry on their way.
Yes, that's the intention. Yes, that's what we want to build these for. It's to get resources into the smaller regional towns. That's what we want to happen.
It's operational, but is there a thought to sneak along Tea Tree Road and then go under the main road, which has been done in the past by other developers, and then can't use the Henley Bridge, so you're paying for a bridge?
It's definitely, it's one of our on the options list, but yeah, there's several options around that. It all depends on flooding and the likes.
Like through this flooding days.
Yeah, and you know, I've heard it's running, of course, but yeah, it just depends. That investigation just have to make sure that
Just, you know, that takes a bridge out of the cost.
Yes.
and then it's just crossing back over the main road. So how you do that? So yeah, there's a couple. There are all those options are on the table. Yeah.
Well, Councillor Graham, there might be a few Ks left in you yet.
E-bike.
I I swear by them myself.
Well, this is what I'm hoping too. I want to be able to bike from Dunedin to Queenstown, and then, you know, it'll be amazing. And a lot of people in Dunedin will want to do it. As soon as that connection's there, people are doing it.
Oh, lovely. I might just have to seek a bit of advice with Steve, our CEO here, but around the process of endorsing concept and vision and so forth, because have you presented the DCC or the other councils a letter to sign, or have they written a letter, or could I have an example of what the next process?
The letters, yeah, we've got letters that we can provide as starting point that can be signed. So yeah, however ways in which that can be done through your staff potentially in paper format.
Right, is it, but Steve, it would be something that would need to come to council, would it be, or?
And depending on the level of endorsement requested and things like that. So the first point is just to receive it, Your Worship, and we'll just action it from there. And if it needs to come to council, then it'll be scheduled.
Right.
So when you're saying receive, we draft a letter and send a brief description of what we're asking for. Is that what you would be needing?
Yeah, the request. That's correct.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Cool. It's really nice if because they had that meeting of the mayors. It's really nice if the mayors, but they have to have the support of their councils to endorse a broader vision for Otago and go, yes, we all are behind this. It just makes huge difference to funding.
Well, rather than go to the individual councils, is it worth bringing it to the Otago Mayoral Forum? And then we can filter out to individual councils, have that discussion, and then.
That was mentioned when we presented to Waitaki District. However, you've had events overtake since then called Amalgamation, and I think we've just dropped off that radar.
Oh, I wouldn't think, don't let that deter you.
No, we're not letting it. It was getting into that. It's getting into that system. It's getting into that system. It's what.
How do we do that?
How do we get the invite?
Get the invite?
I think the first port of call would probably reach out to Mia Mel.
Right.
She's the chair.
Oh, cool.
Yes, because she was the one who said she would push it for us.
Yeah, and the secretariat, which is Mariana Brook at ORC. So
Cool.
Oh, okay.
that'd be your first port of call. And then that would go to then we could bring it back to our councils.
Yep.
But yeah, I just made that up. But no, I think
It does make sense because it is an amazing regional vision.
Oh, no, thank you. Well, if there's no further questions, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
And good luck with your vision.
Thank you.
It'll
Thank you.
happen. We'll get there.
Right, we've got another speaker from the public forum with Mr. Rex Edgar. Please like to come forward to the rostrum. Welcome.
Thank you. Please excuse my hat, I'm not very well.
Thank you.
I see after 2 years of living here, I think we finally got managed to get rid of the cars on the verge outside the school in Baker Street and Stirling. So hopefully that carries on. But I think it's been a problem for a long time, and I really don't see why a member of the public had to be involved in it. Myself talking about. Now you got rid of the cars, how about we get rid of the stuff on the verge, please? You've got a policy in here that tells you they're not allowed to put anything on the verge, unlicensed cars with no motors, trailers, let alone all the other junk that's there. I don't want to live in a third world country, and I'm sure the people I've talked to around the place absolutely abhor the place. It's just appalling. And I can't see, I came here and I was told by the receptionist that there's not much they can do about it. I said, well, it's down here in black and white that this is what you can or can't do on your verge. So I can't see why I've got to be here again to ask you to do something that shouldn't be there in the first place, or should be taken off a long time ago by the council. And I have received no communication about it at all. This place is appalling for that as well. Getting to talk to people or return calls or emails is just atrocious, and not getting them. I think this place, even though you've changed some people on the council, I don't think much has changed at all as far as the council's attitude towards the ratepayers go. Especially me as a ratepayer, I think it's appalling as well. I think this council needs a good shake-up. It's a pity more if it didn't go when Cadogan went, that's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Or
Yes.
There could be some questions, yeah. Any questions for Mr. Edgar?
Nobody will be bothered.
But, well, I've got a question. So you're talking about the berm and the berm policy. So whereabouts is this in Stirling?
Yes. Have you not been in Stirling the last couple of years?
Oh, I was there 2 weeks ago, but
Well, you go right past the school, right across the road from the school. There's 2 properties with cars, junk, everything outside. You can hardly get up the footpath with the junk they've got out there.
right.
You haven't noticed that there's something wrong.
Right.
You know, it's just bad.
So up past the school.
Opposite the school, a couple of houses from the corner.
The school's on a side street, isn't it?
The school's on the main street, and they're right across from the school,
Yeah.
Baker Street. There's 2 properties there, just one house down, I think, from the corner, that are just absolutely covered in junk. It looks like a mobile workshop. You know, most of the time it's just, you know, and I said about the cars, and I said, oh, well, they moved them out the back when we turn up. I said, there's no way you can get out the back because there's no driveway to them, to out the back. You know, all I get is something I just get is stories all the time.
Right. Have you actually reached out to your local councillor?
Pardon?
Have you reached out to your local councillor about the issue?
No. Because I was told a year ago that he couldn't help me with my roading problem. And I came here to a roading meeting and he was in charge, he was the chairman of it. What a joke. So why would I want to attempt to speak to him about something else? He couldn't help me. I don't give a point of order. I'm saying what I feel like. And this is what I feel like. I feel like this place is just a joke. You know, when he's the chairman and he says he's got no control over what happens with the roading, what a load of bollocks. I don't care what you say. I really don't.
It's me, Tom.
Oh, well, I think, well, Steve,
Oh, yeah, sorry. And I still haven't received any word about the meeting you're going to have in July from last year about the roading.
Right, sorry, I'm unaware of any meeting.
Yeah, well, I've had something back about that, but it's just
Steve, can we follow up with staff and just get a bit of a brief update at some point on what's actually been happening out there, please? Well, obviously at the Stirling School.
Certainly look at the question on rubbish on the verge, Your Worship.
Yeah, and any other feedback with service requests and stuff would be lovely. We'll paint a picture. That'll be lovely. Thank you. Right. No more speakers for the public forum. Welcome, Peter. We'll move on to item number 1, page 5, electoral decisions. Now, you've all got a copy of a revised handout. And I'm sure Peter will talk to us. And we've got, welcome Dale. Dale's online.
So through you, Your Worship, the report, as you indicated, has got some revised recommendations. The recommendations take account of the fact that we're waiting on advice from iwi groups in relation to the Murray Wood matter, and the recommendations address those. Apart from that, I'll take the report as read.
Right. Any questions? Or Dale? Councillor Graham.
Through you, with all due respect to the people that wrote this up and considering what may happen with amalgamation, and I really wonder why we're going through this. We may, correct me if I'm wrong, but we may be amalgamated by the time of the next election. It is a possibility, right?
No. If we were a Head Start proposal
Yeah.
in 2028,
Yes. So we don't know what sort of representation will be from the present district. So there may only be 2 or 3 elected members on the amalgamated council. Possibly.
yes, but I'm sure Dale will reinforce this. There's still legislative obligations. This is the problem we have, is that we have legislative obligations that we are required to do no matter what happens, unless that legislation changes. And the Act specifies certain things that you must do by certain dates, and that's what we're following. And it might seem a bit moot potentially in terms of where things are going, but in a timing sense, I don't think we have a choice around those legal obligations. Now, Dale, you will reinforce that, or?
Correct, because legislation is still active, it has not been changed. Council is obliged legally to follow through this. A lot of councils are doing a lightweight review, but nevertheless, it still must be done, and the box tick that council has complied with this legislation.
But we could wait until the 2031. We could wait and do it next term.
If you're talking about a representation review, we certainly aren't recommending a representation review done early. I don't think we've ever recommended that. We quite like only doing them once every 6 years, because it's a lot of work. So this isn't recommending a representation review in advance of that, I'm pretty sure.
If Maori wards are introduced, that's one of the decisions, a yes or no. If the answer is yes, then we have to undertake a representation review, no matter for what short period it may last, but that's what the law requires. However, for a timetable for a representation review, you don't need to finish your initial proposal until the end of July next year. So there's ample time, should the government decree something with the Head Start or simplified local government, then there's ample time to pull back.
Yeah, so, I mean, Resolution 7 talks about not undertaking the option of conducting one. So it talks about number 6 is that it's optional, and it would only ever become not optional if you were going down a Māori ward process. But then that you can make the decision not to go down that pathway today. That's the whole point of today.
So for you, we could just retain the status quo until we find out what is going to be available to us in the upcoming years, the amalgamation.
That would be effectively the resolutions that talk about the method of voting, about not going ahead with any Māori wards, and not taking an option to do a representation review early. Exactly that. That's right. Those are all available to you in the resolution.
If you do the status quo, the only requirement council needs to do is make the public notice by the 19th of September, which gives the public the right to demand a poll. That's the only compulsory thing that council would have to do under the status quo.
Right, any further questions for either Peter or Dale?
Peter, you've highlighted the reasoning for the changed resolution in yellow.
Yes. So the change respective to the original motions are highlighted in yellow, and it only relates to Māori wards. And what's being proposed effectively there is council make a decision about what their preferences are in relation to Māori wards but make provision for the fact that should we receive advice from iwi groups to differ from that, council may wish to, well, there's a recommendation to resume the conversation, which would require an extraordinary session adjacent to the meeting, the workshop meetings on the 10th. But if we get the same advice as we got previously, that was no Maori wards.
Ideally, we would have the information today. We don't, so we're just making provision that we think is reasonable, that we always have a backstop ability to at least consider iwi viewpoint. As Peter said, if it differs, you can still go down the pathway of no Māori ward, but it would be better to make a decision having considered it than making a decision not having considered it. And as Peter says, if the advice is consistent with the decision of no Māori wards, then we don't need to do anything further. And the resolutions provide for that, if that's where you want to go.
Well, if there's no further questions, would someone like to actually move recommendation 1 that we actually receive the electoral decision report? Moved Councillor Frost, seconded Councillor Graham. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Any discussion on recommendation 2 around the electoral system for the 2028? Or any questions?
Really easy. We don't want to end up like Dunedin, so we're best past the post.
What do you ask, Benedict?
Councillor McAtamney's just mentioned Dale around retaining the first past the post electoral system. Actually, how long's the Clutha district been running that? Is it for its entirety or?
I believe so, Your Worship. Was there was a top in here, and Jules is nodding since he's been here.
Julie might know who it before.
Julie?
It's always been, we've always had first past the post.
Well then, can I move a few recommendations?
Well, if there's no further discussion, we're more than welcome to, Councillor.
Okay, can I recommend 2A, that we retain the first past the post system? 3, that the council gives public notice of the decision and of the right of the electors to demand a poll. 4, subject to iwi feedback. A, we retain the status quo by resolving not to establish one or more Māori wards. Also recommendation 5 is written. And number 6. Okay, well, I'll stop there.
So we might just get you to mute your microphone if you can. We're getting a bit of noise coming through.
Sorry, I missed something that is very broken. Was there a question there?
No, can you just mute your microphone because we can hear a lot of noise coming through. Thank you.
So, do you want me to recap that for you, Councillor McAtamney? You'd like to move 2A,
Yes.
retain first past the post, and 3,
4A,
then on to 4A, to retain the status quo by resolving not to establish one or more Māori wards.
and then recommendation 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then recommendation 6 had me a wee bit sneakered.
Yeah, well, we'll just stop at 5 for now, will we?
Yeah.
Any discussion around that? So we've got to move I'm prepared to take all these at once. We've got moved by Councillor McAtamney. Were you keen to second that, Councillor Frost? And there's no discussion. We'll take it to the vote. All those in favour, please say aye or raise your hands. Unanimous.
Everybody, Your Worship.
Right, now we'll move on to 6, representational review for 2028 election.
So your worship, as I understand it, if the intention was to not seek a representational review unless it's forced upon you by any other decision, then you would have 6 and 7. In this instance, it would be E, because that's how it's written in here. Not undertake a representational review. Because it says subject to 6 and 4B. So that's how I would read you put them together, 6 and 7E.
Can I go to Dale just for?
You may not have this
Right.
in front of it, your worship. But, 6 simply says, for Dale's, council notes undertaking a representational review for the 2028 election is optional unless council intends to establish one or more Māori wards, in which case review is compulsory. So we're just noting that, we know that. You've just resolved currently not to have the Māori ward.
Status quo.
So 7 says subject to recommendation 6, which is the one I just read, and 4B, which was establishing a Māori ward, which we aren't, we're doing 4A. Council agrees to not undertake the option of conducting a representational review, in which a public notice is not required.
Okay, then can I recommend motion 6 and 7E, please? I'll move, sorry.
Seconded by councillor Cotton. Discussion. No discussion? Well, we'll go to vote on that then. All those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous. Thank you, councillor McAtamney. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Dale. Yes. Yeah. Right, we will move on to page 8 of our agendas. Item number 2, roading operations financial carry forwards for the 25-26 year. And Sean. Hello, Sean.
Hello. Apologies from Sean that he's actually on bereavement leave today. So I'm covering for him. So I'll take the report as read. A little bit of information for the councillors though. Last financial year, as you're aware, roading operations came under my portfolio mid-year, and the contractors done a huge amount of work. They actually delivered on the operations side just over $13 million last financial year, which has exceeded other years. So these carry forwards are the remaining value from the last 2 prior years that have been carried forward last year and now consequentially this year. Any questions? Oh, yes, sorry. Just for understanding for some of our new councillors, so we're currently in year 3 of the NLTP, which means that there's absolute drive to deliver the full program this financial year. So you normally have the 3-year period where you can, as Jules mentioned earlier in the day, where we had made a decision 2 years ago to hold off 15% of the works program till this financial year as well. So we have the 3 years to spend all the funds and get all the work delivered. Sorry?
Use it or lose it.
If you don't utilise the funds, then you run the risk of losing them.
Questions? Councillor Cotton.
Thank you, Worship. Thank you, Donna. So what you've got listed here is what this money must be spent on.
Correct. You can move it around within sub work categories,
Yeah.
but that's where it's identified currently.
Okay, and you are confident of getting this done?
I am, because as of March this calendar year, I sat down with a contractor, not just myself, sorry, the operations team as well. We advised them of the additional funds that had been available for last financial year, and in that time they delivered $2 million more than what they had done previously in a 3-month window. So they've got the forward works program. They have these these carry forward figures plus use budget in advance with the disclaimer that if council chose not to carry the funds forward, we would reduce the program, and they are fully aware and fully committed to deliver.
I've got a question, Donna. The emergency works, we've still got quite a healthy balance there. With the weather event, would some of that work not have qualified under the emergency works? Like we've got trees down on road reserves, wrong roads and been pushed to the sides and so forth throughout the district.
The emergency works funding is for work that has been identified and approved for payment from NZTA. So you can put forward a submission and they will determine which specific sites they will approve. This money in particular is majority with Cheslin's Highway and Grey Bridge, I believe, from memory. Yeah, so that there's been a whole lot of discussions on site with Cheslin's Highway. We've had the latest designs just coming through now, and the intention is to deliver that site.
Any questions, councillors? Well, we'll go back to the first page under the recommendations, and would someone like to move that we receive the roading operations? Move councillor Harrison and second councillor Graham. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Unanimous.
Thank you.
Would someone like to move recommendation 2 that the council approves or does not approve the roading operations carried forward 25-26? Move councillor Cotton.
That we approve.
Yep, that we approve. Seconded councillor Frost. Any discussion? If there's no further discussion, can I please have a show of hands? Unanimous. Thank you, and thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item number 3 now, the CDC Land Transport Procurement Strategy. Welcome, Christina.
Good afternoon.
Good.
Hi, through you, Your Worship, I'm Christina Higgins. I'm the Procurement Officer within the Infrastructure Strategy and Delivery team. This is my first time.
Lovely. Welcome, first time caller.
Thank you. Through you, Your Worship, the report asks Council to adopt the Land Transport Procurement Strategy 26 through to 29. It's currently standard process for the Council to review the strategy every 3 years. So we're in that 3-year cycle. And of course, it's in alignment with the NZTA procurement manual as well. Okay, the last LTPS was endorsed in 2023. So this has been forwarded to the NZTA for endorsement, and it's currently sitting with the NZTA Acting Head of Procurement for endorsement, with recommendations by the Strategic Procurement Lead from NZTA. Although they have not yet endorsed it, they recommended we bring it to Council to adopt it so that we didn't interrupt, and for continuity of the roading contracts and the maintenance work in the network. We wanted to make sure that that continued as normal. The strategy, significant changes within the strategy was the establishment of the professional services panel with 1 anchor consultant and 4 support consultants. The roading maintenance operation renewals contract 821, that has a 5+5 year contract, and it's coming up for renew next year in June 2027. And also the road line marking contract 832 has the same 5+5 year contract, and is also coming up for review next year. Okay. I actually spoke to the NZTA Strategic Procurement Lead today to get an update as to whether or not the strategy had been endorsed. He said it is still with the acting head. However, he does have a meeting. He did have a meeting with him today at 12:30, so I was hoping to get an update on that. He stated that the strategy is fit for purpose, and he found it to be of good standard. But they also have an up-and-coming NZTA board meeting in September, and with that, it is expected that the new NZTA procurement manual will come into force. And this will mean changes from the 5th of October where the CDC will no longer be required to seek endorsement from the NZTA. However, following those changes, the CDC will still be required to review, revise and update the strategy every 3 years, with the CDC Chief Executive being required to write a letter notifying NZTA that the strategy has been reviewed, updated and is in alignment with the NZTA procurement manual. So it will change slightly. I take the report as read, and do you have any questions?
Questions for Christina. Councillor Graham.
Yeah, through you. Is Stantec still a provider?
They're one of our support providers.
Right, but
Yep.
not the sole.
Not the sole, no. Becca is our anchor consultant.
Any further questions for Christina? Councillor.
3.0 strategic approach. Apply tikanga Maori in decision making where appropriate. Can you explain that for me, please?
Sorry, what page is that?
Page 12.
Page 12.
12, 25, 25. Yep. Under Maori business and tangata whenua.
So with that, we engage early with the iwi. So I'm currently working on I can't pronounce the name, I do apologise, with Olivia on the consenting part of that process and aligning it with the procurement process of the projects and contracts that we go out with. So that's something that we're looking at to make sure that we manage this piece in an appropriate manner.
Okay, thank you.
I've got a question for you, Christina. At a recent meeting with Mayor's Task Force for Jobs, it was raised there under the procurement side of it, Burn community and locals. There was a question asked of not just the CDC council, but there was a question asked for councils. As part of the procurement policies with the Mayor's Task Force for Jobs, any employers that are operating within the communities, like the district council's area, do local unemployed people that are working for local businesses actually get perhaps a tick so that they're employing locals and people from right outside the district?
I'll jump in here actually, if you don't mind, team. So in our last procurement strategy, one of our broader outcomes that was agreed with NZTA and brought to council, that was one of the criteria that we support local businesses as much as we can. And so most of our tender submissions that we do receive are with either local businesses or larger organisations who employ local people. In regards to people who are unemployed, I can't answer that because that would be with the contractor that we've actually appointed to the role. But we can definitely start talking to them to see if there is options and opportunities for that.
Oh, most certainly. I think it's a conversation. And just to touch on Councillor Frost's one there about Māori business and tangata whenua, that was also touched on, Councillor Frost, that and I've had a meeting with Kuma, who represent Otago and Southland Maori business owners. And when I say business owners, they're a range of dairy farmers, sheep farmers, just your everyday businesses. And do they get the opportunity to fit in as part of the procurement policy with the councillor staff for forming decisions on awarding contracts and tenders and so forth?
So
that
through you, Your Worship, when we advertise on GETS, we open that up to all businesses. So anybody that meets the criteria is more than welcome to submit, and we welcome these submissions.
So yeah, it was more about providing opportunities for local businesses that employ local staff. I've had it from a local contractor who contracts to the council, and they employ a lot of locals throughout the district. more communities. And he strongly advocates that those sort of people should get a tick when they're applying for contracts, tenders and so forth. No further questions for Christina? If there's no questions or any further discussion, would someone like to move recommendation 1? Councillor Graham, seconder.
Yes.
Councillor Cotton. And I'll also take, would you like to recommend number 2 as well, councillors? Graham and Cotton. If there's no further discussion, could we please have a show of hands for all those in favour? Unanimous. Wonderful. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you so much.
Please call again.
I will do.
Page number
39. Right, report Catlin's Dark Sky Reserve Letter of Support Request. Item number 4, Lily. Welcome, Lily.
Kia ora. For your worship, I will take this report as read and answer any questions.
Questions for Lily? Councillor Frost.
Through you, your worship. Lily, how dark is dark? Like, I mean, that may sound like a ridiculous question, but from my place on a cloudy night, you know, Belclutha sticks out really quite vividly. So, what I'm sort of asking is in that Awaka area or the Catlins area, how many lights are they allowed or not allowed, you know, sort of how does it work? Or is it a distance from the light?
I would have to get that information and pass it back on to you.
Cheers. Questions? Further questions, councillors? Councillor Cotton.
Thank you. So clearly that this area meets the criteria, and do you know how many other areas in New Zealand are like this?
I don't have those numbers, but that's something I can get for you as well and send it through by email. But
There's a couple, isn't there?
I thought there was one.
No, there's one in Mackenzie.
Yeah,
Does it
Mackenzie.
say it?
Yeah, it's about 3 or 4.
Kaikoura, Mackenzie.
Councillor Graham.
Through you, I've seen a documentary about the dark sky in Mackenzie country and the number of visitors that it created, and seeing the names that are behind this, the real drivers. I would be fully in support of writing a letter of support to these people. That they're not fly-by-nighters, excuse the pun, but yeah, I could see real value in this.
Just through you, Your Worship, New Zealand has 10 official dark sky international certified locations, including major reserve sanctuaries and parks. The most famous is the Aoraki Mackenzie International Dark Sky Reserve.
Thank you. Councillor McAtamney.
Yeah, I mean, for this to mean something though, there must have to be certain rules. And so I'm assuming that there will be restrictions on what type of lighting can be used at night in that area. And when they define the Catlins as a dark sky reserve, they haven't defined the actual area. It's a pretty big area potentially as to what might have to be under restriction.
yeah, for your worship, my understanding is that they're focusing on the dark sky park status first before the whole Catlins becoming an international dark sky reserve.
Yeah, I mean the actual area. They haven't
So the area that they are looking at initially is the Purakanui Reserve area.
Yeah.
Purakanui Reserve.
Oh, so we're not talking like Mackenzie's the whole basin, I think. You can only use certain
Yeah, they're focusing on a certain area park.
just a piece of it. Yeah.
a dark sky park status for an area centred around the Purekanui Reserve. So just that area there. Councillor Kennedy.
So just question for going forward then, if we do this, then we need to have something in district planning and all the rest of it for this sort of thing, or? Because you don't want to have a dark sky reserve and then somebody can come along and build something fantastic that lights up the sky. So I'm just wondering, you know, going forward, there'll be a lot more work to be involved in this sort of thing, or?
I think Peter's got an answer down the back there. Have you, Peter?
Through you, Your Worship, there's a number of post in principle support by council. There's a number of considerations that might come to pass in the future, but they're not. You make no commitment to those. You've mentioned the bylaws. That's a pretty strong approach that would be an option, but in terms of how you do it, you've also got what council does itself in terms of its lighting prescriptions. It's not to say you don't have light; it's how you manage that light. And then the third thing is what people do on their own properties, which intersects with the bylaw. But again, a lot of the bylaw reserves are voluntary processes, and what council does in the future will be a judgment call at that time in the circumstances.
Okay.
Thank you, Peter. Any more questions for Lily? Well, I'd like to ask someone if they'd like to, well, I'll take both if there was the hunger there to take both recommendations 1 and 2.
Yeah, I'd like to recommend that number 1 and that the council agrees under number 2 to write a letter of support for the captain's task.
Thank you, Councillor Frost. Seconded, Councillor Graham. Show of hands. All those in favour? Unanimous. Carried. Thank you. And thank you, Lily. Item number 5, resident survey 2026. Welcome back, Peter.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you, I will take the report as read. Invite any questions.
Questions, councillors, for Peter, please. Councillor Cotton.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Peter. In advance, just a question around the satisfaction levels and where in some of the surveys that there are people dissatisfied or unsatisfied. Do we know why? Do they add comments to those scores or whatever you want to call them?
In certain cases, there are comments provided, and the survey company has provided some indication of some of those comments associated with the questions.
Okay, thank you. Does that answer the question?
Councillor.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just 3 notable shifts. Satisfaction with taste and clarity of water supply targets 70%. This year it has improved, but it's still only 58%. Considering the amount of money that's been spent in the last few years on water infrastructure, it seems relatively low. I would have thought that. I know it says the rural areas are quite happy with the new water standards, obviously, but obviously some of the Clutha or Milton water areas aren't as good as what residents would like. Is that the correct assumption?
In terms of the specifics of the area, I'd have to go through the report to advise. But yes, the observations are clear. There has been some improvement, but and it's a call for council as to whether the investment is commensurate with what should not be the case.
Through you, Your Worship, there were still, during that financial year, quite a few water schemes on boil water notices, and I think that reminds people, irrespective of the actual clarity, when there's a boil water notice, people go, well, we're still getting these notices about it. So we can't be sure, but hopefully now all the boil water notices have been lifted, that might improve next year.
Thank you. And then, like we know, for example, Milton is a major problem area, but there's been a lot of work done. We did the
no deers cleaning.
That tanker that went out there to clean and try to do that. And
did it Lawrence
there
as
hasn't been a lot of complaints, since that. They weren't able to do all of the area. They were to do parts of the area. So there's definitely things that have been happening around the known areas around that do affect that. We've all seen the old pictures of bottles of murky looking water that people have and that, but it's hard to actually do something with that unless we had exactly where it was, when it was, and you can go out and actually look at it and say, is that a problem with your tank or is it a problem with what we supply? The better information we have, the team would just lap up information because it allows them to see where the problems are to see what we have to do to fix it.
Councillor Cotton.
Thank you, Your Worship. And just to add to Steve and Jules' comments, like this one scheme, the Balmoral Peka and water clarity has changed markedly, except for one person. Everywhere else, it's very, very good and is commented on. So whether that's reflected in the survey or not, I don't know.
Through you, Your Worship, the survey was, as indicated in the report, undertaken in June, just prior to annual plan decisions.
Last year.
This year.
This year.
Yeah. Just gone.
Yes, sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Financial year.
Peter, so we've used this company before?
Yes, we've used this company for at least 3 years, possibly 4, to my recollection.
And you're quite satisfied with the product they're delivering, like after some of the comments and feedback we've had about lack of understanding of the people on the phone and lack of knowledge of the district, have they taken that feedback on board?
So this year, well, they certainly have taken the feedback on board to answer that question, and they've been quite assiduous in working with us in ascertaining the basis of the problem. This year we had more complaints with, there wasn't a huge number, but we take them seriously. All the calls are recorded, so it's very easy to ascertain the nature of what's going on. I think as the report indicated, the resolution essentially was the callers need to be background briefed on aspects of what council's about, because there was a level of distrust by some callers who felt that they didn't understand the place.
Right.
So that's an improvement for the future.
Oh, cool.
The other part is briefing the callers, or going through the scripts more. We have gone through the scripts, but have a sort of a review process where before they go out, we've tested it one-on-one with the provider. So we've learned some lessons from this process to make it more friendly for the resident.
Because, from our workshopping this morning, in essence of going out and surveying our communities with what we're going to be confronted with moving forward, I think if we're not getting even these wee parts of the surveys done right, it's actually hampering our goals to actually engage with our residents in surveys as a whole. And this is only one survey. If you can understand what I'm trying to get at. A bad experience here could switch someone off.
So that's true, but the numbers of complaints weren't high. That doesn't justify that it's acceptable. It's not. But the other part is the survey surveyed 300 people, and the information we gain, is good. It's it covers the issues we've been raising for a number of years. It gives us tracking data. So it's still a robust and good survey, but like all things, we can always improve.
Was it a procurement competitive process?
It was a competitive computer. Yeah, we had. Yes, I'll stop there.
We can tell that it wasn't just one provider. We actually went through a procurement process to select them. So.
Yeah.
Did you have your hand up there?
No, it's good.
Councillor Grant.
Yeah, through you, and you just said it was quite a robust sort of process, but I wonder if it should be expanded to, say, 1,000 people, and I know that's quite a lot, because I looked at one there and there was a 16% very dissatisfied thing, but when you looked at it, there was only 6 people or something that it was judged on, so it was only one person out of one person that was strongly dissatisfied. So I just wondered, I know it's probably a lot more money and it's a lot more work, but to actually have it as a spread over a lot more people, a lot more responses, give you a far more accurate reading, because you only need one person with a bit of a gripe and it can throw everything out.
Through you, Your Worship, obviously if you pay more, you get the result. Whether it's a material benefit, I would need to test that in terms of the confidence levels that the statistics would underpin this. We could have a look at that. And then you can make some judgment calls as to whether the price performance of more money and more surveys is worthwhile. You know, there is the possibility that the confidence levels are, well, the confidence levels are high, but what you're saying is, are they high enough? And then you can make that judgment call.
I've probably got to retract that a wee bit now, because thinking about it, that was the online, I think it was online.
Ah, well.
So that doesn't really take in that 300. So I take back what I said.
Okay, but you do actually raise the issue of self-selected online versus statistical surveys, and they're quite different, different things, as we've experienced with, say, self-selected consultation.
Councillor McAtamney.
Well, I imagine they actually have to ring 1,000 people plus to get 300, because anyone from the survey rings me, it's they did actually ring me, and I, damn it, I couldn't do it.
Well, they got that right,
Any further questions for Peter? If there's no further questions, would someone like to move recommendation? Well, move as many as you like.
What page is the recommendations on?
43. Thank you, Councillor.
Well, look, I would recommend number 1, that they receive the resident survey. Number 2, that the council receives and accepts both the district council's satisfaction survey report, attachment A, and number 3, that the council notes the Clutha District Council satisfaction survey response.
So we've got
workshop, so accept the whole lot.
Well, we've got 1, 2, and 3. I'll accept that if we have a seconder. Councillor Harrison. All those in favour, please show of hands. Unanimous. Thank you. Carried. Right, we shall move. Thank you, Peter. Page 105, item number 6, Risk and Assurance Committee recommendations.
Through you, Your Worship, these are just recommendations that were made at the recent Risk and Assurance Committee regarding the Category A reporting. So just bringing these to council for approval.
Any discussion, councillors?
Pretty straightforward.
Pretty straightforward? It's a very straightforward discussion. Thank you, Councillor Graham. Seconded by Councillor Cochrane. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Page 106, proposed 2027 meeting dates, item number 7.
So these are the dates for next year's meetings. I had discussed it previously with Leah before putting them into the agenda, and there may possibly be some workshops, but I think we've got pretty much, Peter's had a look at them to go in. You'll notice that we've started the meetings on the 28th of January this year. The reasoning for that is because of Easter. Where Easter falls, our council meeting would be due to fall the week after Easter, so that's not conducive to anybody because we already have the Monday, Tuesday after Easter, so we just thought, well, if we start into January, we can fit everything in, and then only noting that there will be a 5-week gap between the November meeting and the December meeting. So the last meeting for the year would be the 9th of December. So, and obviously community boards are 8 weekly and risk and assurance are 6 weekly. So, and youth council are 6 weekly. So if you're happy with that, good.
Any discussion? I'd just like to acknowledge Julie's compassion for our councillors' well-being and being very conducive around Easter. Maybe she was just considering the start.
Both, definitely both.
These aren't subject to change?
No, I think these will be, we've worked it out. I've worked it out around, they fit in nicely with around public holidays. And
I'd say it's been quite a task for you to.
yeah, it is. It is with them. It's a challenge having council for weekly, but that's okay. We've got it sorted. We've got it worked out now. The only thing that may change is, like I say, there's 2 workshops in there already, but that may change. But we always give notice of those anyway. So. And Lily has confirmed the youth council ones as well.
So, question, Councillor Ken?
No questions.
Councillor
Yeah, just through, like you said, the 5 weeks between the November and December.
Mm-hmm.
So does that involve you having to apply to have it that far apart?
No.
Or is it just?
No, because we just
do it?
No, we set them.
Right. I'm prepared to move recommendation 1 and 2. If that's the case.
I think Councillor Kennedy was.
Oh, sorry.
Second. Yeah, second it.
Seconded by Councillor Harrison. All those in favour, please raise your hand.
I was.
Unanimous. Thank you. Right, we are now over the page to 109, confirmation of council minutes, item number 8. Julie, once again.
Yep, there's 2 sets of minutes there from the 23rd of July and then the extraordinary meeting on the 30th of July. I've been advised of a little change I need to make, so I have made that change. Thank you, Councillor Cotton. So if you're happy to confirm the minutes, that would be fantastic.
I'm happy to move with that little change.
Everyone's happy with that before you move them? I'm sure you have set up all right reading them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how Councillor Cotton knew where the mistake was.
Yeah, that's my fault. I inadvertently included them in a vote. He'd abstain. Cleared an interest.
So was anyone prepared to, if there's no further discussion, I'll take both recommendations. 1, thanks, Councillor Cotton. Seconder, Councillor Frost. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Unanimous, carried. Thank you. Change your mic to now, Julie.
Up to page 127.
127. Risk and assurance minutes, page 127, item number 9, prepared by Rolene. Who's going to?
They have just for noting.
Just for noting.
Yes.
Be noted. Kennedy and Harrison again. Don't need to show hands because it's just for noting. Same as Page 140, Youth Council minutes, item number 10. It's just, the unconfirmed minutes of the Youth Council meeting held on the 27th of July 26 be noted. No questions? Councillor Kennedy and Councillor Harrison again, is it? Thank you. Page 146, Organisational Performance Improvement Update, 20 August 2026, item number 11.
Thank you.
Welcome, Christina.
Thanks very much. Kia ora koutou. Well, we've got some positive movements in this report and some clear work-ons. Remind you that this is our second ever only report done in this way. So really welcome feedback on what you want to see and what you want measured. So welcome anything that you have to say, remembering it's only our second one, so we can improve heaps if we want. Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
All right, councillors, questions for Christina, please. Please don't all pull a hamstring. Having a rest.
Have a comment, not a question.
Question, comment, comment.
I like the set out of the report, Christina. It's easy to understand, and well done. You know, I'm sure some of these reads will change over time, as everything does. But it's quite a comprehensive report and well documented.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it is really good to see lots of green in there, and it's good to know where the reds are so we know what we can do. And appreciate the feedback. Thank you.
Christina, for Troy, the CE's team, July, December, 25%, January, June, not available. Sorry to get hung up on this again, but can we have an explanation, please? They're not team players in that department, or what's going on down there? I need to sort it out.
Oh, well, part of this program is about empowering our people. So we've got some really amazing people who can do really amazing things. So what we've done is taken the CE's targets and given them to the people who can do the work. So I think this is one of the things that we're trying to get out of this program, to utilise our people and to remove some clutter from.
Clutter?
Yeah, well, to allow our leaders to be doing that more strategic work, because we do have amazing people. We need to be utilising them and getting them to do the mahi. So that's one of the outcomes that we want from Clutha Stars. Right. So while they aren't being reported under the CE team, they have been spread across our teams.
Right.
And so you'll see that we'll meet those targets.
We will see.
Yeah.
I noticed a lot of dust down in that department down there.
Mind you, we're the internal services department, got the highest engagement
Actually,
score.
I really see some really good gains there, yes, apart from the CE's department.
Lots of really good things happening across the team. So, yeah.
Good to see you trying for a gotcha moment. It didn't quite work. Christina had it all sorted.
Councillor McAtamney.
Just a question on page 150 around the ACC experience rating. So I just noticed that in this last year, we're getting quite a good levy discount, and then it dropped right back to zero. Now, has that been a change in us or a change in ACC? And how much do we pay in ACC? Is it very relevant?
Yeah, so the difference in what we paid this year is $15,000. So because we didn't receive that discount. Because we had 2 injuries last year that reduced that our experience levy. So the injuries that we had were really minor, but it impacts us. So it shows that it really matters to be caring about health and safety and to be doing all of those things, because then it hits our back pocket if we don't. And that's $15,000 right there for a minor injury. Two minor injuries.
So what do you call minor?
Ankle sprain.
That wouldn't have cost $15,000.
No, but it impacts our levy. So, and that's how they, that's up to them. But I calculated what we paid this year compared to last year, and it was $15,000 difference. We'll see a change again there when we, next year, when Three Waters leave as well.
So it's a bit hit and miss really as to whether you get it, because if that's the extent of it, then I could trip up going out the door this afternoon and wreck it.
You did at home.
Yep. That's right. That's why we need to be keeping a good eye on on the safety for our staff.
But it's a twofold thing though, Councillor McTammany, and I'm not too sure if the organisation was part of the WSNP scheme, which is Work Safety Management Practices, and you got actually discounts off your ACC levies if you achieved and demonstrated that you're doing all your health and safety practices. But it also comes back down to the cost of maintaining that injury that the employees, and that could be a combination of physio vets, doctors, it's the crews, the costs accrue, depending on how long they're off work. There's a number of factors, but it does reinforce the culture around staying safe at work to keep people off, get them returning to work quicker. Councillor.
Do ACC take into account, the health and safety practices that we've got in the workplace? And so I suppose the question I'm asking is, if we've got good health and safety practices within the workplace, but somebody has a minor accident, they take that into account or not? Or are they just saying, God, someone sprained your ankle, you people are killed, we need to whack you for another 15 grand, it seems to suit.
Unsure, it's just unfortunate. We had two injuries, and that's how they calculate things. So
Lost their no claims bonus.
Yeah.
Councillor Gray.
Thank you. Through you, what's our staff numbers?
180.
Two minor ACC claims on 180 people in a year. Doing all right. Really.
Councillor Cotton.
Thank you, Your Worship. Christine, I was just wondering, what's the average number of injuries we've had, say, over the last 5 years? Do you know that?
Very low levels of workplace injuries. So two last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The year before, maybe none.
Yeah.
This year, maybe none.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So, but we are managing a lot of injuries that happen outside the work that also impact us, but doesn't affect our ACC.
As Councillor Frost says, if we've got a good track record, it should be something that is a positive, isn't it? For ACC on your levies, you would think. But anyway, it's up to them.
Christina, just a quick question for you. So you're quite comfortable with the report here, where the figures are going, what direction we're headed in? Was there anything concerning you that we need to know about? Not putting you on the spot, but is there something we should be aware of?
Well, like I said, this is our second report, and I'd like us to be able to look at this and think, this is what we need to do. I don't think, not completely happy with that right now. Like, are we measuring what contemporary high-performing teams measure? How do we compare against others? And what do we need to do to keep striving for excellence? At the moment, I think I need to do some more research on what we would want to do and get feedback from SLT and yourselves on what we would want to measure. But at the moment, this is what we have, and it's pretty good. And we are, as all, moving forward, and the teams are doing really well at meeting the targets that we are setting. So to me, that kind of says when our people have goals, they're willing to try and meet them. So should we try and meet some big goals?
But a good thing if we let the staff actually set those goals too.
Yeah, and that's what they do. That's
Yeah,
what this
achievable.
program is about, because people who set their own goals are more likely to be motivated to achieve them.
Councillor McAteer.
Okay, thank you. You might want to answer this, Christine, if I could ask the question, is there any part where you would like to, any part of that report where you are disappointed with or would like to see a far bigger improvement? So you don't have to answer it, because you could get...
I think, I want to help our staff with meeting their targets and for them to feel proud of themselves and what they're meeting. And I think sometimes I talk to the staff and they're like, we can be more efficient in certain places, and how can we do that? And at least we're having those conversations and we can help them. So yeah, it's just, I want them to all be meeting their targets and to feel happy.
I think also that progression to silver and the star side of things. I mean, there is a difference in performance between the teams that are at that level and those that are not, Christina. And we are seeing the benefit if teams get to that. So, imagine if we'd have half of the organisation at that particular level, then you would see a substantial uplift in performance across the board, because the requirement that we put on people to get to that level does require that more effort around that side of things. So we were talking before, weren't we, Christina, about how we are going to re-energise that to ensure that we are pushing through, because that's really the secret to organisational performance improvement is substantially getting and increasing the numbers that are getting through that process, because then they are actually high performing teams. So that chart there where it's sort of 0, 1, 0, 3, whatever it is, of those that are there, the challenge is to get our teams into that phase. We've done the homework to get them to a certain spot, so there's definitely improvements as a result of getting to at least the standardised sort of bronze side of things. But getting them to that next level, we do that for a reasonable number. It's going to have major dividends for what the residents and ratepayers see as a consequence of that performance. So that's what we should be pushing. When we're monitoring it, we're saying, what's our stretch goal? It would be, maximise the number that we can actually push through for it. And it is interesting because it's not just as Christina knows, because she has to keep presenting the applications for me, it's not just a gimme for things. There are aspects to it that we look at, and even to the extent that we do look at just how is the team working together. If there are issues within the team, then they aren't getting the silver in that, because that's just not going to happen. Their performance could be great, but their values could be not good. And that's not what we want either. So, I see that as really where we should be aiming, and we'll talk about what program we need to put in place to help our teams get to that next stage. I mean, it was a big effort, it cost us, big commitment from everybody in terms of time and all that sort of thing to get to the basic standard that we have got. I think some of the stuff's coming through is showing that still has achieved and improved stuff, absolutely. But if we want to be really high performing, we've got to take the next step and push things through. It's so hard out there at the moment, like everybody, it's not easy on the organisation. We're seeing the stress, the pressure, the workload, the things getting thrown our way and all that, and yet we still need to push through and try and get high performance across the board renewal. So we've got to have a look at how we're going to achieve that. That's the breakthrough I would be suggesting for where we need to be going.
Thank you, Your Worship. Probably a bit hard for you to answer this, 'cause it's not really a question, but on page 150 with the resident satisfaction survey, there's anomalies in there to me. So helpfulness from the staff's pretty consistent. Overall performance of the council is roughly the same, but then satisfied with decision making and planning, we're rising, yet people, the value for money is going down. And then things like libraries and that, people are really satisfied with that in general. And I know people are quite happy at the Milton Pool as well. We've closed it.
I've noticed that, Roger. I'm very happy with our pool.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying there? Like there's interesting trends there which don't really add up to me. People are happy with what we're doing, but they're not happy with how we're doing it. Would that be fair?
No, I wouldn't see any of that unexpected. That value for money would be totally expected. If you look at, previously we had relatively low rate increases, right? So, people are never going to be 100% happy with paying rates and value for money in that sense. But there was a relatively stable viewpoint. It's dropped in terms of the years in which rates have really started to skyrocket. And you would expect that because people would be challenging that. So that's not an unexpected reduction. What is interesting to me is that decision making, has increased under that. So that you should take, a real plus around that sort of things. That in the environment that we're seeing there's actually some recognition for the efforts that the organisation and elected members have put in.
Yeah, okay, well that's fair. I was just saying it just looks a wee bit different to me, but I guess the trend's the right way. So that's the plus, and big thing is that's why we're here, value for money. That's what we're trying to do. So thank you.
Back just through your worship, back in one of the graphs back in the survey, there was a thing back where decision making that by the council was rated really highly. It was in the 80s. It was back when there was a 4% rate cap.
Yeah.
As soon as that rate cap come off, you watch the decision making. Oh, it's terrible. It's way down here now.
I think it tanked around COVID times, to be honest, where a whole lot of trust went downhill.
Any further questions for Christina?
Positive stuff.
That's quite positive stuff. I don't know, which department do I need to pop into to see a bronze certificate? Because I won't see one down in my room, obviously. So if you could help me out, internal services, I'll pop over and see the one.
Is that where the sprained ankle was, down that corner?
Could have been. It certainly wasn't the CE's department anyway. They're all tripping over themselves.
Sorry.
Right, sorry. Well, if there's no further discussion, would someone like to recommendation? No move, Councillor Button. Well, seconded by Councillor Kennedy. All those in favour? Aye. Aye. Unanimous. Thank you. Right. Item number 12.
While Jules' name's on this one.
Jules' name on this
You're
one.
doing it,
ALGIM
I don't
Information Management Maturity Assessment.
I don't even knew it was in there because of the conversation that you had with Jane about, and Jane's not here.
I did know it was there.
You did know. Jane Soper didn't want to come. Do you want to talk to it, Jules?
Sure, happy to. I suppose it's another independent sort of verification that some of the team are doing a really good job. And whilst Jane was modest, I think it was good to get that recognition and get that in front of you guys, and you can look at sort of where we stand in terms of other councils is actually quite good. So yeah, happy to take the rest of that report as read and answer any questions through you, Your Worship.
Questions?
Your Worship, now just going to number 6, self-monitoring. I think this report contradicts itself. I could be completely wrong, but assessment compliance monitoring is only significance maturity gap identified in the assessment. So I've written concerning around what's going on here. And yet you go down to the conclusion and it says that these capabilities reflect a well-supported and organisationally embedded information management function. So haven't they contradicted themselves there, or am I reading that wrong?
Through you, Your Worship, I'd have to have a close look at this, Councillor Frost.
Well, I mean, my understanding of it, Councillor, was that there were 1 through 6 areas that they assess. They're at various levels in terms of the assessment. That was assessed as progressing. Rest of them were at different levels, level 4 maturing and such like, better levels. And so they talk about it's still a maturity profile, a number of profiles, and their assessment was still that it was pretty good.
If you look on page 157, it shows that we're ahead of most other councils of a similar size. That's the only one that we're about on par with. Everything else we'd be doing better than most other councils.
Yeah. It just seemed to contradict itself to me when I was reading it. I thought, they're saying here that there's a significant maturity gap, and yet down further, after I read most of the report and thought we're doing pretty well here. Then they state that, and then they say that your information management function is well supported.
Yeah. So the self-monitoring is the bit that we need to be doing some action. If you look at the other ones, they're at levels 4 and 5, and that they didn't assess us at 5, which would be even better. They brought it back to 4, but even so, that was a good thing. So absolutely, like if you look at this, you go, oh well, we better do some homework around self-monitoring.
Yeah.
An area for improvement.
Any further questions? Councillors? Well, if there's no further questions, would someone like to recommend one? Move that, Councillor Frost. Seconder, Councillor Smith. Any further discussion? No further discussion? We'll have a show of hands. Carried. We'll skip on to page 163, the mayoral report, item number 13. It's pretty much there in front of you. Is it for recommendation or just for noting?
It's recommendation, which then you usually go around the table.
Yeah. So as you can see, that's what I've been up to just recently. Quite interesting. A lot of people ask me, is it full time? How many days a week are you in Balclutha and that? But I can tell them it's hard to quantify. Like some weeks you're down here every day, and other weeks it's a bit softer, but you're busy outside the district or wherever. But as I emphasise to them, though, it's for me, it's not about racking up hours. It's about getting the job done and seeing the days out. So although it does look a bit daunting, I don't feel it too bad myself. Let's get on with the job, I reckon. Councillor Frost, what have you got to report? Your activities recently?
Well, my most recent activity has been carving, and I've been bogged down in the mud for about 3 weeks, so that's about as far as I've gotten. Sorry.
Don't let it get you down.
It doesn't get me down because the milk's going in the tank, so I can see the money rising as the refrigeration line on the back, mate, so I'm happy.
There you go, Bruce. Right. But, have you had a bit of connection with your community? People ringing? You don't have to be out and about in the community.
Look, I've had a few conversations lately, some grumpy people about the Green Street Plaza and the Union Street water upgrade. I put a service request in last week to have the speed limit on Keenan Ave reduced to 30 kilometres an hour, but that was rejected, so I've got to go back to those people and explain why. So, yeah, it's mainly the Union Street thing is really starting to bug people in the area, and the Grey Street Plaza thing not being complete, and people driving past and seeing work, people standing around doing nothing constantly is finding people's wheels in my area.
Mm-hmm. When you can compare it with if you go to Queenstown, nothing seems to change up there. There's always the road open and there's people standing around and there's orange jackets and there's cones and there's diggers and that. So it's everyday life up there. So.
Yeah, I suppose in a little country town, everybody thinks they know what the problem is of the pipes are getting, so it's always an interesting conversation.
Councillor Cotton.
Yes, your worship, what have I been, well, there's been a bit going on, community board and economic development and big ones around Southern Waters. So as you would have noted, I missed part of the workshop this morning because we shortlisted directors from 62 to 12 to 5. We're going to interview next Friday, so that's progressing nicely. And you would have seen an ad out for the rural water representative, calling for nominations for that or people to apply to that, which closes September 1st, I think, and there's been quite a good response to that. 10 or a dozen people, I think, to date. So there's a bit of stuff happening in that area and needs to quickly. So that's positive. As far as constituents go, there's a few people ringing about various things. Some about their water rate, others about just other little things where they should be going to probably works requesters and that sort of thing, but I've been doing a little bit of work for them on that. So keeping quite busy, but generally quite positive.
Councillor Graham.
Yeah, just the general stuff. This sort of thing, the ordinary was I went to a combined New Zealand meeting, which was interesting, but there is a public meeting coming up on the 28th of September, which is a Sunday, where they are trying to determine the direction that they're going to go with Belcliffe Museum, whether they fold up or whatever. Quite a serious sort of conversation to be had. So it's a public meeting. So if you're around at past 1 on 28th, there's a meeting down there, and I'm sure that they're pleased to hear your views. And that's for September, yeah. And as far as public consultation, well, I go to the supermarket quite regularly and come away with more than I go with. There's a lot of people out there escalating farts to facts.
Yeah. Escalating fast to what, sorry?
Farts to facts.
Councillor McAtee.
Reasonably quiet since the last meeting, just a few meetings involving Clinton, near our place stuff. Yeah, I'm probably being left alone a little bit. I think there's quite a difference in the anger thing out there with rates between urban and rural. A lot of the noise is coming from urban. Yeah. Unless, yeah, I think a few of the Balmoral Turpika ratepayers haven't quite taken notice of their rates by yet. Yeah, a couple have.
Councillor Kennedy.
Apart from community board meeting, Stago had its first kick-off at a fundraiser for the new facility. We came away with 30 grand for the night, so it's a good start. That's about me.
Councillor Harrison.
Just basically attended the usual. We did the RC Stewart site visit, which I found really good. I attended a Kaitangata Promotions Group meeting, our Youth Council meeting and workshop where we went over planning about painting the Larnac Street equipment, the upcoming community ball, and talked about ripple effect. We also had Ollie Tunner there, who, I don't know if you guys have seen it, is championing Meat on the Move at the moment. He's taking carcasses and things from hunting competitions and getting the meat processed and given to food banks and organisations, which is really, really awesome. If anybody wants to help with that, they're most welcome. I had a catch up with the regulatory department today, also attended the workshops, etc. Yeah, that's about me.
Lovely, thank you. Councillor Smith.
Just the ongoing portfolio meetings with Bruce, myself and Mike, and that's, there's been a couple of them. Clutha Foundation meeting, and somehow got myself on the subcommittee of that for the grants. So September, October, we have 3 of us, we're going through all the grants coming into the Clutha Foundation. So apparently it's quite a big job. Just go through who's going to get stuff or not. Council are in a rec centre meeting, also on duty all day on Sunday for our market day down there, fundraising, big stalls and promote the rec centre, so pushing forward with that. TPO meeting last Tuesday night. I missed the youth council meeting, but yeah, that seems to be going ahead. I've been keeping an eye on that. Get bombarded by the Larry's Highway in Milton everywhere we go. What's happening? Why is it happening?
Larry's Highway, I like that.
It seems to be everybody, because you're a council, should think you know what's going on. And just had a few other questions with from a few places and the two committees I'm on, with Mike's survey sent out with the community, the planning of all the questions and why we're doing that and what's it meaning and all that. So there's a bit of interest on that. That went out to all the halls and the museums and the pools and that. So there's a wee bit of interest around that. So apart from that.
Very good. Well, thank you, councillors, for that update. Mike and Lily, I'm just probably going to get Steve's report, and then we might just have a break. It's getting up to 3:30, so you're welcome to hang around for a cup of tea or something. We'll go for a break. So, Steve.
You got the question.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Graham.
I forgot. Too often you come here and complain about things. I ran out of water the other day on the new scheme, but I put in a service request and the response was excellent. It was after hours. Come back the next day, the communication was brilliant. Hats off to them.
You okay, Councillor?
Sorry.
Thank you for that.
Got my hearing aids.
Yeah. Good stuff. Thank you. That's positive news. So that recommendation received my reporting that was moved, wasn't it? Well, I'll move that. Seconded Councillor Frost. All those in favour? Right, carried. Thank you. Chief Executive's report, page 165, item 14.
Thanks, Your Worship. I'll take the report as read. Just picking up on some of the questions that are coming through around the Milton project. There's, Richard and the ODT's receiving a lot of interest as well. People definitely want to know what's going on. We have, I think we've targeted the end of next week, I believe, to be able to give a definitive date for start and completion of the project, I believe. So we said before, there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes and in preparation. The teams have done a heck of a lot of work with in a complicated, complex scenario with a number of different stakeholders, but progress has been made. And we were just simply saying that our response to the paper was, just if you just hold on a little bit longer, which won't be far away, we should be able to give you those definitive dates, which is what everybody's calling for. So we are making progress, we are targeting that, and it's something that we can bank on as a consequence. So that's our expectation. Other than that, happy to take questions, Your Worship.
Questions for Steve? Councillors. I've just got a question. I see, Steve, you met with Bruce, the establishment chair of Southern Water's done well, and Fiona Smith. There was things progressing all right there, do you feel? When you met them in the flesh?
Well, yes, Your Worship, we just wanted to give them some sort of high level things they should be aware of, but it was also a bit of a meet and greet for the chair in terms of Bruce and that. We did take them around, I didn't, but the team took them around because we thought it was really important that that they see things on the ground, right? Because this is he's going to be the chair of the outfit that is taking control of all our assets. And that. So any opportunity we have to show what we've got, show the teams what we're delivering, and talk about the important things that we see as being important, that's the opportunities we'll take.
You found it very cold at the North Bruce Water Treatment Plant, which was the last site we went to, with at about 3 inches of snow left on the ground around the treatment plant. So it's pretty cold up.
He hung in there till the end, didn't he? He just, I don't think, you said he didn't get out there.
He did, but he got back in the car very quickly. It was only about 5 minutes.
No, lovely.
Good to see everything we have to put up with, right? And that, though, and that's what they're taking over.
Councillor Cotton.
Thank you. Just on that, Steve, they quite enjoyed the trip. Feedback.
Well, if there's no further questions for Steve, I'd like to move that we receive Steve's report, seconded by Councillor Smith. All those in favour? And on that note, I'll adjourn the meeting. Just, it's what, 3:30? Will we have 15 minutes? Called before? Like a cup of coffee?
Yes, if we could, because we've got a few more.
Got a wee bit to go yet.
We should be fine to try and finish, and probably excluded as well, so
Yeah.
hopefully that won't take
if you'd like to line it up, please.
So that you.
Vicky?
Real relevance.
Oh, well, welcome back, everybody. We're up to page 167, report on the Community Services Department update. Our portfolio heads are Councillor Graham and Councillor Smith. Would you, well, where is Councillor Graham? Oh, here he is here. Councillor Smith, would you like to make any comments before the team deliver the report? Is everything going all right with you yourself?
Yeah, I think we're slowly getting our heads around, or Bruce and I, what we need to talk to Mike about. Whereas I believe our meetings are getting a bit more useful now from the first couple. We were sort of wondering what we were talking about, but Mike keeps us pretty well up to date, and brings in stuff that he's doing with his team. And we've questioned a few things, and he's come back to us with the answers. So, not sure what Bruce thinks, but I'm finding them a bit more beneficial than the question, probably. Fair to say, Mike?
Oh, thank you, Councillor Smith. Welcome back, Councillor Graham. Would you like to add?
I think the meetings are evolving and as such getting a bit more structured, and Mike is getting to know what he wants from us and vice versa. Very easy to work with Mike. So, and it's probably the best portfolio here, so they've got the best people on it. So
right,
I can't really see it going on.
I'll second that.
Have they got any bronze or silver certificates in their department? I haven't seen them in my department.
Got a bus ticket.
They're all on bronze. Oh, they're all on bronze.
My department is silver, just chucking it out there.
Well, thank you, councillors, for that.
They're completely unbiased opinion.
Right, yeah, thank you for your feedback. Welcome, Mike. What were the numbers we spoke about this morning at the workshop? How many in your team, in your department?
60, about 65, 66.
And
which part-timers, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's a fair representation of that in Mike's report here, and hopefully he's not going to use all that time. But there's 24 pages there in the report, and it's a true reflection of what's actually happening in that department. So, and this is part of that journey we need to be sharing with our communities to actually what this department does for our communities. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Your Worship. So you're right. I mean, I guess we have tried to cut to the chase through this report. I realise that it is a huge department and lots going on, but we're trying to give you the highlights, if you like, and lowlights, if there are any, but always open to your ideas about what you might like to receive, what you want to know. So I guess we'll just take the report as read. The team, some of the team are here to speak to particular items, but we'll try and get through it reasonably quickly for you. I had a couple of things I wanted to cover off at the start. One is around funding for community facilities, and I know we've had a number of workshops on that. So our portfolio heads are aware, and you're obviously aware, Your Worship, but basically our plan around that is to try and provide you with a way forward. We've gone out to all of the groups, all of the committees that receive some level of funding from council. So that's halls, museums, pools, and also the Cross Recreation Centre. Basically, we wanted to know from them what it costs to run their facility in total on an annual basis, what they think is a reasonable contribution that council might make towards that, and why. So once we had that information, we'll be looking to bring that back to you in a workshop on the 17th of September. Just basically by type, for example, by pool, by all the pools or by all the halls, and using that information to find a really robust model for funding those facilities. So that's just a heads up that that's coming.
Oh, well, that's great that you made that effort and went out there.
Yeah. Well, we did try we looked at a number of different methods that we talked about at the last workshop, and we just, there was capital value, etc. And we actually, rolled that through, and it didn't really work particularly well. So we thought this is actually ask the groups themselves, right? Doesn't mean they'll get what they asked for, but it just means that we'll have that information and you can see it all in one place.
Yeah, that's really going to be really fruitful stuff. Asking them the why. And then they must appreciate the pressure that the council's under. So for me, that's really proactive and engaging stuff.
So for us, so just on that, so we sent out 34 surveys to those types of groups. We had 25 have come back to us. 11 we've actually received their books or that information. So we're still chasing a few, but we need to get that pretty quick.
Your Worship, so yeah, it doesn't close till Friday anyway. Yeah. I've been involved with some of my portfolio ones, but what are you going to do for the 4 or 5 that probably don't put that back in that workshop, because they're obviously not interested in wanting more money next time? Or?
Through Your Worship, we're doing everything we can to contact those groups. I think what the approach we take would just be to say, well, look, this is what they've received previously from council, because that's all we'll have. Right? So you can see that. Yep. So just another couple of things I wanted to highlight in our actual report here, and without stealing Melissa's thunder too much, we have the resident survey results, and which are obviously pretty good for our department, highlighted on page 168, and we also have just the other thing I wanted to note is, Melissa will talk about maybe the library programs and the numbers there, but just on page 171, where we have the performance overview table, there's a couple, generally that's pretty good, but there's a couple of areas where we are a little bit down. So one is, just to explain that, so one is the monthly visitor numbers at the iSite. It's just down a bit compared to previous years. Just noting, so we've been working with the iSite and Clutha Development, just really coming out, and we've developed an action plan to try and strengthen that alignment between the destination management side of things and how we actually deliver information to our visitors. So we're aware of those numbers, and we're just doing our best to try and take some steps to address that. So. And the other one was around pool closures. Obviously, was a bit low in June, just purely due to the pool being closed for a period of time. Camper interactions with our Freedom Camping officer is down. Our full-time officer is on extended leave, so we've just got someone working part-time. So that's why that is. But happy to take any questions on the introductory stuff. Otherwise, I'll hand it over to Melissa.
Oh. Could I just ask a question? Just on the iSite and visitor numbers down, is that possibly a long-term trend? Because I know when you're away or somewhere else and so much stuff you just look up on your phone, or so much visitor information about different. So the actual physical interaction side, is it potentially just a long-term slide?
Through Your Worship, possibly. That is certainly a trend, I guess, that people are going online more often. But you have to remember that the ISO also acts as a service centre for council, so they've got another whole stream of business, if you like, got customers, people coming to pay rates or dog registrations, etc. as well. So there's quite a bit that they do down there.
Yeah.
But in terms of visitor information, I guess we're looking at that pretty closely to how best to deliver that, how we align that.
Yeah, because does it actually need to be all physical in the long run? Yeah.
Well, I mean, generally they have pretty good numbers through that facility, as you can still see, but at the moment things are trending downwards. But so that's the whole point of this is to keep an eye on things, and if things start to pop up on the screen, then we take steps to address it as best we can. We have no control over how many people actually come in the door, obviously. But we've set ourselves a target to have a stable user numbers coming into that facility. That's what we're trying to achieve.
Councillor Grant.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Mike, do we have, I suppose we do have numbers from, say, 5 years ago or before, even 3 years ago, before they went to Poma on numbers of the eyesight?
Yeah, we do. So on page 172 at the top there, that graph actually covers the last 4 years, I guess, and the start of this year. So you can see there that I think that so September, what's that, 23, 24, so that was September 23 was when the move to Poma occurred. Right. So you saw a significant uptick, I guess, at that point, which has carried through since that time.
But having said that, I suppose that was just eyesight where it wasn't.
No, it's always been the same service. Yeah.
As well?
Yeah, they had that temporary space in the middle of town while the home was being constructed. And prior to that, it was at the old mall.
Any further questions for Mike before Melissa?
Your Worship, just commenting on page 171, generally things are looking quite positive, aren't they? So I think that's a good thing. Well done.
Very good.
Okay. Libraries.
Thank you, Mark. Good afternoon, Your Worship. I come bearing gifts this afternoon. In my library report, the highlight of the library report, I've cut it down a little bit, otherwise it would have been a bit more than 24 pages. I've got all the highlights from all the libraries. The highlight that I chose to concentrate on was a little booklet that the All Waka Community Library worked with Age Concern Otago with funding from Creative Communities. When Steph Brunton saw that I had chosen her library for the highlight of the report and that I talked about this little booklet, she said she had copies for everybody, all the councillors, Jules and Steve as well. I have got other copies too. So this is just a really good example of different groups working together. It's a little book about 7 Caitlin's residents and a little slice of their personal history. There is a copy of the oral histories on Clutha Heritage as well. And when Tiffany Jenks was here as the Heritage Coordinator, she worked with Steph and Robin from Age Concern Otago. So yeah, this is I don't want to take up too much of your time, but it's for you to keep. And Steph has provided a page with just a little bit of the background about how it all happened, including how much funding was given to from Creative Communities as well. Other than that, as you mentioned, libraries are doing very well, and I'm happy to answer any questions from the report.
Councillor Cotton.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a question, you mentioned Tiffany Jenks.
Yes.
So how are we going if someone will continue in her role? How's that?
We will be going out to recruit within the next couple of weeks. Yeah, the role is slightly different in hours, but we've made some slight change there, but we will be recruiting. I'm pleased to say.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions regarding libraries? Come on, there's got to be another question out there.
What's next, Mike?
Okay, community facilities. So Joan, I think there's one thing to cover off in particular.
You bearing gifts still?
Yeah.
Not really. Oh no, that's later. Yeah, through you, Your Worship. Just thought I'd just let you know what was happening with the waiting list for the community housing.
So our proposal is to get the people to contact people on the waiting list and get them to reapply through the new policy-based application form. And then that could potentially mean that some applicants could jump the queue. But what I thought was that we can't really decline others because they were already been approved. So we could leave them on the waiting list, but just further down. And then the newer ones will just go in above them. So that if at some stage we do run out of people on the waiting list, then we could go onto those ones. Just thought, let you know that's what we're proposing. If you've got any thoughts on that or anything you think we should change or do differently.
My view is you know the role. You're the best person there. You've been there. You know your skin in the game. So you're relying on your knowledge. Doesn't have to back yourself every now and again in life, Cal.
Okay.
Questions for Dal?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, so the rent increase letters are going out next week. So just in case you might get some public questions, queries. Yeah.
So after looking at the policy, you know, since we've done our tweaks, Darwin, like you're quite comfortable yourself though. It's given you confidence that by following the policy and your decision making.
Yeah, I haven't had anyone yet, a new applicant yet to use it, so
Yeah.
so that'll be good when I go.
But to review the current wait list and that, has it been a help for you to actually when you're assessing them?
Yeah, well, I think won't really come into effect probably until I've got them to reapply and then see what's going on. But yeah, it will definitely help.
Oh, great. It's fantastic. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Alan. So next we've got Lily with Community Development.
For your worship, I just have a couple updates to this report. So under the job opportunities section, Ollie was hoping to be here today, but due to illness, he is away. Just an update in terms of filling the contract positions. We are currently in contract negotiations for 2 people to fill those roles and hope to have them here at the next council meeting, all going well, to introduce you. The HPR Job Opportunities Foundations contract, we are now interviewing for those 2 roles. So again, hopefully all going well, we will have 2 new staff members as well to introduce to you at the next council meeting. And then just finally, we have had Savannah Morgan start as Community Development Officer. Main part of Savannah's role is the community plan implementation. Again, Savannah is off today due to illness, but we will have her here at the next meeting and yeah, she can speak to her part of the report. Otherwise, if there are any questions, we'll take the report as read.
Just remember to make the point, isn't it, that those job opportunities positions are funded, not from rates, and it's really great that we've got a person employed in the community development plan implementation space, right? Because there's been a real struggle to get people employed in that one as opposed to consultants. And Mike, some of you might recall as we first started here. Doing that sort of work as a consultant, doing when we first started community plan implementation, right? So and development, yes, and that. But Mike will be the first to acknowledge that you know you can get some bang for your buck from a person employed full time as opposed to consultant rates and things like that. You'll have to acknowledge that much. In that sense. So it's a good news that we've got somebody, we can put more time into that space that's been struggling.
Councillor Collins.
Thank you, Your Worship. Lily, just a question around the recipients of the Telford bursary. Do you know what area they're from? Not just Clutha, are they Lawrence?
Councillor Tammy and
I can speak to that. The young chap
what was his name?
Shaden.
Shaden. He is local. He's living in the area with his grandparents. And the young lass, I think, was from the North Island.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Councillor Kennedy.
Lily, read the job opportunities, the foundation there, with the $1 million contract. So it goes ahead regardless whether there's 1 or 20.
As in,
The 26 weeks program? 6.4.2.
Yeah.
Putami Rangatahi.
yes, that's right. So it'd be a 26-week program. When we will aim to have 10 rangatahi on the program for those 2 cohorts per year.
And they have to fit in that age group of 15 to 18.
Yes, they do.
And are they not going to school, these children?
They are either disengaged from school or they're at risk of becoming disengaged. So it could be referral from the schools in the south that are already identifying these students, and that school might just not be the right fit for them.
And they're not eligible for any financial relief benefits.
Next one. Okay, thanks, Lily. So next on the list is pools. Holly's not here. Pool numbers are also going really well, despite the fact that we've had a few closures, but this year. But happy to take any questions on pools.
Yeah, one question, Mike. There was a bit of noise around the group in Milton possibly wanting to open Milton Pool. Anything come of that?
Through your worship, no, I did send some information out to that group, but I haven't heard anything back. So I'm just assuming that tie-ho on that. Okay, next is back. Delwyn is back again with a bit of information about Taylor Park.
Okay, through your worship, just about Taylor Park. So just some figures. The question has been asked how it's doing, whether we're making money. So I just thought I'd give you a bit of an update. Once you've had we look at that. So 2025, there's a deficit at the bottom there, 12,000. We started working on the automation side of things. So we got a barrier arm. We did some work at the entrance, including the signage. There was actually a hot water cylinder burst that year as well. And Chris Clean was the cleaner, and we've now got an on-site lady that just cleans there every day. So 2026, I should have said, so we've taken out the rates subsidy and we've taken out the overheads. So this is the actual cost of the income of the users and what it costs to run. So, and then there's a budget there for this year. So we are proposing a profit of 15,000.
So, question for you, Delwyn. So under salaries at $1,949, so that's going to be gone, or is that just going to be mopped up with that?
That's going to be gone. So in the next year, this one, John was still there for 1 month. He didn't retire till the end of July.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 1 month. So the next year there'll be nothing salaries.
I see there's a bit of an increase in the electricity charges. By Jove, it's getting up there, isn't it? Pardon?
Could be. More users.
More users,
Just good combination of more users and what was the other one I saw? The rentals and leases. What's the rentals?
Oh, that's just the fees of the campers.
All right, so that's income.
Yeah, income. And the miscellaneous is predominantly the laundry service. It's a coin operated machine. $4 per wash.
Rates are getting up there too.
Can I ask what the commission is?
Yeah. It's just,
Oh, okay,
that's
so-
the question, yes.
So it's run through a penny system, like it's called Penny, the company. And so the campers will do it online. So they go online, book everything. We don't have to do anything. There's no person that mans it. It's just through the penny system. And we give them 20% of our income from the campers.
That takes away all the cash handling and all those sorts of issues.
And they do a bit of promotion as well online.
But you've, technically, you've offset that with the salaries from the caretaker, isn't it?
Yes.
Being reduced.
Marvellous. Heading in the right direction. Well done.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, and I think you were last, but not least, is Linda.
Thanks. Good afternoon, Your Worship and councillors. I can take the report mainly as read. I just want to highlight just a couple of things. So under the 9.1.1.1, we talked there around the developing a community housing trust framework. I just want to say that hopefully at the next council meeting, we'll bring forward to you a proposal for the establishment of a community housing trust. And then also under the attraction and investment facilitation, we've just about completed the work for the consortium that's going over to Europe next month to support investment in the Melbourne quadrant alongside Quarter Stewart.
Do they need a CE from the council going with that?
Yeah, no, not yet. I've got some fine letters from the mayor though.
You better stay home and get your certificate sorted. I can go.
We've also put the link in there to our business confidence survey. It just highlights, it was another, a lot of our small to medium and farming community participate in our survey. And I think I mentioned last time that when we established the business project group and we were looking and we invited businesses to attend, that we had little uptake from the small to medium businesses, but we have got their feedback through the business confidence survey. And so their comments aligned with also the priority areas and themes identified through the project group as well. So when I present these reports, I just take a snippet of some of the stuff that we're working on at the moment. If there's something that you want to know that we do that's not in here, because I can't report on everything in this time available, then please let me know. I just try to pull out sections of the work that we do from time to time.
Through Worship, but Linda, you also, Cliff Development Incorporated does have a council representative as well, don't they?
Yes.
It's almost like a portfolio holder in that
Yes,
sense.
yes, we do.
And Your Worship, you usually see portfolio holders have anything to say.
Yeah, I thought we'd go the reverse order of this currently, Steve, and just see what Linda's got to say about the council representative. Does he actually turn up and is he on time and does he bring good conversation?
Provides feedback.
Provides feedback.
Yeah.
He is on time.
Oh, from our meetings and our discussions that we have.
Does he present himself well?
Yes.
Lovely. Councillor Cotton, would you like to add anything to the conversation?
Yes, it is. Just a question for Linda. Like clearly, and I know on Linda's side, there's a power of work goes on, and I know you're a little bit short-staffed with maternity leave and maybe resignation. How are the team coping with the extra work?
Oh, I should have mentioned we have a new team member that joined us last week, Kaylee Venter, and she is on a fixed-term position for 12 months. So she's assisting with some of our project work, and the rest of the team we've been able. Some of our projects have sort of fallen off, but we're making sure that we're focusing on the needs of the moment. So, yeah, working hard, they are. Yeah. Yeah, it's good because Katie brings a new perspective to the team. Her and her husband have moved directly from South Africa to Balclutha, and he's on a 2-year contract working at Silver Fern Farm. So it works in really well with those discussions that we're having with the project group, especially around that pastoral care of people into our community and how we engage with them and how we keep them in our community as well.
Cool, thank you. I even knew that Councillor Cotton have been there more regular than you have.
Always ask a leading question, Your Worship.
All right. Councillor Kennedy.
Your Worship, hi, welcome Linda. The Waihola looking forward relocation of the whale fossil.
Yes.
There'll be quite a bit of work involved
Yes,
in
there
that.
is. Yeah.
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 So where are they going to resite it to?
So the site they're looking at the moment is behind the showground area.
In the park where
In
there's
the
a few
park.
other buildings already.
Is that where the mention?
It's where there's, yes,
Where the park.
the old butchery is.
Yeah.
And the old,
Yeah, so it's quite a little destination.
Vintage machinery.
Yeah.
There's
So
building
good
buildings.
location.
Beside the dog park. on there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right place?
straight through the rugby ground and
Yeah.
then carry on.
Quite complimentary with the cycle trail that goes through the back there as well. All that area. Anything else?
Yes, Your Worship.
Councillor Cotton.
Thank you. Just on your business, the link, the business survey results.
Yes.
So what trends are you seeing in that? I had trouble logging in, so.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. But anyway, so what trends are you seeing there, and do you think it's going to be quite useful information going forward for what we're trying to do?
Yes, it is. As I said, the things around workforce availability, housing and those sorts of things are the common themes that come through. And, in there, we always talk about businesses talk about the regulatory processes, and that's enabled us to have a relationship with the Living Unit team here and for us to establish those Ask a Planner sessions where we hold them off-site and we sit in on those. So it's a facilitated process, which is working well. We've had 2 very successful meetings and around some bigger developments that are happening because there's quite a bit going on. Yeah. And sorry. And also today, the latest Infometrics quarterly survey came out as well. So our GDP is up compared to last year as well. Our unemployment rate is 2.4%, which is half the national rate, which you can then understand why we have that workforce availability program and that some of the solutions are only bringing people into the district, but then snowballs that, where do they stay, those sorts of things. And also to support the new Job Opportunities Foundation program, there's still an increase in those needs of 13% compared to last year. So, there's all these solutions, which is great to see to some of the issues that.
Yeah.
So being able to respond to those is great.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any more questions for Linda? Thank you, Linda. That's very insightful.
Thank you.
So it's just to Thank you. Okay then, Mike, thank you very much for that. So would someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Graham, seconded by Councillor Harrison. No further discussion. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Unanimous, carried. Thank you. All right, we've moved on to page 190, Finance and Policy Department update. Portfolio heads Councillor McAtammany and Councillor Catherwood. Before we get going, Simon, would you like to add any feedback with your interaction?
I wouldn't dare speak on behalf of Councillor.
We don't have that much time all the same, so yours will be quite good.
Yeah. One of the things we took a while to sort of get going with this, just with Datascape and everything, and just trying to realise where we were coming from, just as what Brendan and Bruce talked about before. But yeah, we've got into a bit of a pattern now. We're going to meet before the risk and assurance meetings before those reports. And as you can imagine with Dane and I, yeah, we do have a good robust discussion with Sharon about a whole heap of things that we probably shouldn't. It probably belongs to the CE department. But what we
explain her illness.
No, but what we did talk about, we might have mentioned it last time, was around this reporting side of it here. A lot of the stuff everybody sees, and we don't want to rehash it or make stuff. You see it all through risk and assurance, all the financial stuff. And if it's important policy stuff, then it all comes through our other council meetings too. So therefore, you're going to see a pretty brief report from us, yeah. Because you're seeing it all anyway, as councillors. Yeah. That's just a general comment, but yeah. Hence, yeah, what you've got there. But if you want to see more, then of course that's optional too. But, yeah.
But yeah, yourself and Councillor Catherwood are quite comfortable.
I think we will be, yeah. But we unfortunately we're not in charge. That's all. So, yeah.
It could be a blessing too.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks for your feedback.
Peter's might have something to add.
Oh dear. So, Peter, are you replacing Sharon, eh?
Nobody can replace Sharon, Your Worship, we know that.
Or attempt?
No, we're just saying that we're happy to take questions. The team, Trey's here, Peter's here, we're here. Sharon's cropped, obviously, unfortunately. But all of us are available to deal with questions. If there are any.
Oh, well, I do.
Councillor.
Thank you, Your Worship. Steve, probably, I think it's relevant to this. When is the next round of government valuations due for the district?
Look at that, none of us know.
Well, you've done when the last one was done. So it's 3 years, isn't it?
I think it was last year.
Was it?
We've just done one.
Oh, okay.
But we will get that.
Latest revaluation was 1 September 2023.
So it's due.
According to Google. Seems a long time ago.
We had a recent one.
Okay, there's a
well, the
good
point is
question,
that-
Councillor, we'll.
Yeah, and how will that impact rates if there's new valuations on capital value?
I mean, it always impacts rates, but only in terms of how the rates are spread, because it's always based on the, it's always simply a divisor into the revenue, right? So we all know that. It does have an impact, depends where the spread is. Is it going to be an urban increase, or is it going to be a rural increase this time? Or is it going to be a balanced increase this time?
Which is preferable.
That's what we sort of tend to see, isn't it? In that sense. So yeah, you can't. A general increase across the board, we know, doesn't necessarily mean an increase in rates, because we're still dividing it into the revenue, right?
Through Your Worship, I've just looked up our GIS, and that does say current property valuation is at September 2023.
So it's due, do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was more recent than that.
It took effect from the 2024-25 year.
But certainly I don't think in Trey's in the department and that sort of thing, but I haven't seen anything saying either valuation's happening in 2 seconds. I haven't seen any information coming my way about that. I don't think there's been any public information about that.
Just wondering. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, just a question around the data escape thing. Where are we with that? Are we any closer to the second stage of that, or the modules that aren't working sort of getting close to being up and running? Or?
Well, Olivia, you've been on the receiving end of at least one part of that modules and that sort of thing. Have you been seeing any progress?
Lily.
So I can only speak for the regulatory side of things. We've had definitely improvement in the animal team compared to last year, which is positive. We're making some progress in the liquor and food side of things, the admin team. Planning is probably the slowest progress that we've had, and that is a continuing challenge for us at the moment.
Thank you. I've got a question, item number 7, the council property, no change. So I see that our portfolio consists of over 600 council-owned properties, and there's varied land uses and reserves, endowment land, leases. I see we're starting to plan a review of categorisation of the council's portfolio. Property portfolio, do you think while we're starting to plan a review of it, is it time to be actually possibly looking at actually selling some of those assets if we're not using them, especially around land, and free up some capital?
We did that, Your Worship, back in about 2015, 2016. One of the first things we did when we started to look at things, we started to categorise property as free to sell. Effectively, I had anything categorised like that, I had the authority to go and do it. And a lot of that has been moved on as a result. Part of that was also the decision around the forestry, sell the forestry, and shift it into the NECO account and that. So what we're sort of left with is not the easy things to sell, or not much benefit from the effort needed to do that. Tricky little things. We tried to move on a number of reserves, and we know how difficult that is. The public likes the reserves and that. So we have categorised, and I'm not sure what Sharon's looking at there, but it might be just a reconciliation of that side of things for sale. There's no doubt that there is land out there. I mean, we've used it in Kotangara and things like that as well. I have authority to sell stuff as it comes up and that. But I would think, sorry, Councillor, it might be more about a re-energising of that, picking out the ones there that are still relatively easy to do and pushing them on as well. We've got outstanding the Lawrence one, right? So there was again, got the authority to move with that. We're looking at what we can sell there in Lawrence. So that's Lawrence sort of grouped in terms of where we're moving to. But that's how I would think that they're looking.
It's still, that was 11 years ago, so possibly it's worth a gloss over again. And even the reserves components, and especially if we're going through things line by line to try and find those savings, even our parks and reserves, like sometimes those parks and reserves, instead of mowing, they might be better off planted out in snow tussock, and then there's no more mowing. So it's cost saving measures, so, and it's still got an aesthetic value to a community. So I think some of those areas, possibly not worth it.
You might see that though, if we said, how are you going to make a 25% reduction in reserves, green space expenditure, you might very well find that those are a couple of the suggestions that they're going to come through with, right? In that sense. But I do agree that if they've made a note there that they are starting to plan a review, then that's fine. That would be timely.
Councillor McAtimney.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Steve, when we did talk to Sharon about that, that's exactly what she's talking about, is that for another full reconciliation of all those properties and seeing where they sit exactly there.
And I see item number 8, the general grant allocation, while it's already being reviewed. So anyone got any comment on the rebate scheme?
You would expect that it's you expect an increased number of requests. Definitely, you would expect that. We want to make sure that anybody who's entitled to it should be getting it. Right? And we've always sort of said that we want to encourage as many people as possible that's entitled to get it, to apply so they can get it.
Will that change once the water disappears? Because this is government funded, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's not based on any percent. It's like it's just purely
Just on the,
you know, based on the threshold in terms of their income, and then how much that they're applying for as a result. I mean, it should be a benefit because it doesn't say, as far as I can remember in terms of the scheme, it doesn't say it's a proportion of the rates.
No.
It's a finite amount, right? So that amount is only increasing gradually each year. So that'll be a bigger proportion of the rates bill. So people that are on rates rebate will get the same benefit as others if it reduces by 50%. They won't see a reduction in shouldn't see a reduction in the benefit they get back in rates rebate. So that should be a good thing for them.
And my last question is, Peter, with your council policies, how you going? Is everyone sort of, I see there's been a bit of a shift in some timelines, which is understandable, but do you think everyone's on in your different departments to meet those timelines?
I believe so. Basically with the staffing gap, we've had a hiatus. Things are on hold until such time as we recruit, which we're hoping we'll achieve in September, and then it's revered up again. And these rephasings have been reflect that. A lot of these policies are ready to come forward. It's just a matter of tidying up and just pushing them through. So a lot of it's actually now at the finalisation stage.
Oh, wonderful. Great news. Any questions for Peter? Team? Well, if there's no more questions or discussion, would someone like to move that recommendation? So moved, Councillor Cotton. So seconded, Councillor Kennedy. All those in favour? Unanimous. Carried. Page 198, Regulatory Services Department update. Councillor Harrison and Councillor McCrosty are portfolio members here. We'll have to rely on Councillor Harrison to. How's things going there?
Very well, thank you. Oh, in regards to the regulatory services.
I
would just like to say
I would like to say I'm very pleased to know that you're very well.
Thank you. We have Silver.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, we're doing well. I think we need to probably put a bit more effort into our monthly meetings or 6-weekly meetings. And everybody just gets so busy and caught up with other stuff that we haven't really made. We have had meetings, so we had a wee catch up today, but I think, yeah. But it seems to be going really well. It's good to catch up with Olivia and the team and know what they're up to and how things are run. So a bit stressy at the moment with a few staff numbers down, but I think they're coping well.
Great. Lovely. Well, welcome, Olivia.
Kia ora koutou. So a few things to highlight. So our stats are being maintained as well for all teams, which is really important. Planning actually just had their 3rd year in a row of getting 100% for their resource consents, which is a really big deal because a few years ago we weren't doing that. So the fact that we are just shows the determination of the team to ensure that we stick at 100%. Councillor Harrison's correct, we do have a few vacancies at the moment, so we're working on recruiting those, while we're doing that, we've got some proactive planning in place to minimise disruption to the department and to ensure that staff are supported as well. In terms of Matariki, so our department had several key people in it that led the Matariki celebrations for the organisation, along with other people from other departments. So I really appreciate that support there, especially since also I chair the Totu Kunga Working Group, which is what's responsible for a lot of the iwi and Māori matters for the organisation. We have our routine IONS audit. So that's when we get central government comes down and audits our building department to see that we're doing everything we should be. That is in October. So that will be a routine assessment. So that means that they look at all the things that we're doing. So we are getting prepared for that. And we're also keeping, as an organisation, particularly in the resource management space, an eye on the changing legislation. That's pretty ongoing. And Olivia Dixon and the planning team is a key part of working in the spatial planning space, which basically means meeting with other councils from around Otago. And we also attended in Cromwell an interim governance spatial planning group, which is intended to be for our elected representatives. And there'll be a few more hui coming up, which we'll get them along to. Aside from those things, I will take the report as read. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Your Worship, you just, Olivia, you might not have highlighted the effort necessary in terms of the IN side of things. When Olivia first came into the department, we were under quite a cloud. There was the potential that we might actually lose our accreditation at one point. And the relationship with INs wasn't easy as a consequence in that. And shifting for the whole department to be pulling together and working to the extent that IONS is moving to a more standardised audit approach is a big bit of improvement because it's what you would expect. That's the standard we should go for, but we had to improve to get to that standard, and I think that's a big deal as well. Particularly since there has been significant challenges in terms of staff numbers and that for a number of different reasons. In that space. So I think that's pretty important, that area.
Thanks, Steve.
Questions, councillors, for Olivia? I'll kick it off with a question for you, Olivia. I see item number 5, the building control team. They continue to receive positive feedback from customers regarding the objective build and remote inspections and so forth. It's really heartening because we're only talking 12 months ago that there was a lot of negativity out there, wasn't there, with our building control team, and through personal experiences recently with my own builder, the feedback is positive, and the simplicity, and I think that's really, really good stuff to hear, and to read it in the report's even more encouraging. So, and that's where rural resilience comes in, isn't it? Like, everybody just loves simplicity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's obvious that it is working really well.
It's great that your experience is backed up with what's in the report, that you're not seeing something different to what I'm writing in here. So thanks for sharing that.
No, you're welcome. And the planning team, everything looks like there's a bit going on, obviously, like the wind farm, and it's been gone through the fast track out of Mahinarangi. So
that's right. So Mahinarangi's been signed off by central government. So the panel signed that one off. We were involved in the conditions and some pre-application things. One thing that's really important for you guys to understand with Mahinarangi is that it was a variation. So that means that the wind farm already had a consent, was already granted. The variation was just to change the footprint of where the turbines were. So I guess from a planning perspective, it wasn't that big a deal. Right. Kaihiko is the next one coming up, and we're in talks for pre-application with them as well. We've spoken before about that being cost recoverable, and that will be between Owaka, Clinton and Balclutha. There isn't currently a resource consent there, and so it will be a different we'll look at it a bit differently to Mahinarangi, I suspect there. But again, we're just providing the comments in the application as a party. We're not actually the ones processing it like you normally would in a resource consent process.
It's quite positive. And I hear there's talk, I know, of a site in between Balclutha and Waitāhuna that's got one of those wind things up there measuring.
Wind mast.
Wind mast, whatever it is, and for potential another wind farm site. And you hear this talk of gold mines, so the Clutha district's actually, everything's sort of aligning to be quite positive moving forward. So, in that respect, Councillor Cotton.
Thank you, Worship. Thank you, Olivia, for that about Mahinarangi. I've got a few questions for you actually today, but the first one's about wind farm. So is that stage 2 of the trust power contact energy, is it?
Through the chair, from memory, yes, that they'd put up
So-
stage 1, this was for stage 2.
So-
Yeah.
Is it all in the Clutha district, or does some of that?
I think there might be a touch that goes into Dunedin, but I think I can come back to that if you want, but the vast majority is definitely in the Clutha. I think the roading network maybe is in Dunedin, I've got to think about.
Thank you. Also, a resource consent. How long does that last for unused?
Good question. So if it is, how technical do you want me to get, Roger? We've got land.
Just 2 years, 1 year, 5 years?
We've got two types of consent that our council processes. So if you're thinking about any sort of air or water, that's all regional council. So that's nothing to do with us. So our council processes subdivision. So that's when you're carving up the land into lots, and land use. So that could be things, say if someone wants to build close to the boundary, then the district plan allows an overheight building, a sign, things like that. So for subdivision, basically we make a decision. Generally in our district, decisions tend to get approved. They've always got conditions with them. So once the decision is granted, the consent holder has, tested here, 5 years to basically tick off to show they've met all their conditions under section 223, 224C, and to get it to LINs. Otherwise the consent would lapse. So our land use consents, so that's the subdivision. So you've just got to prove you've met the conditions basically. Otherwise you can't put it into LINs. And for land use, for district council ones, they can often be enduring. So they keep going. They don't necessarily expire unless there's an expiry date on it. But it's different to regional council consents where, for example, it could be 35 years as a term on, but we don't tend to have those same sort of limitations. But it does depend a little bit.
Probably the one I was.
You could have had all this in an email, councillor.
Ask questions.
That's not the chase. Go easy on it.
No, that's cool. I was thinking about probably building close to a boundary was the thing.
Okay. Yep.
And the other one is about your dogs. I see there's 75% registered. So what happens with the other 25% that aren't paying registration fees? Is there recovery there somehow or not?
So through the chair, it's still relatively early days because July is when the invoices go out, and so people start getting reminders soon, and then after that, because those are the dogs that we're aware of. Sometimes there's dogs we're not aware of, so it depends. So we're relatively proactive in following up on those sorts of things. The animal team would be able to give you more detail on that, whereas you can see that from the previous question, planning used to be my space. So, yeah.
The animals team, I mean, one of their KPIs, they're expected to contact every single owner that's on the register that hasn't registered, absolutely, and determine one way or another, because they might have moved or others or died and that, and there's action taken and stuff. So that's one of their KPIs that's expected, so they will absolutely do that. And that's just the normal job.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Or just one last one from me, Olivia, if you're not too fatigued after Councillor Cottons.
That was her choice.
Just a question regarding the big announcement about the gold find out in the ringing. Please tell us it's in the CDC and not the DCC area.
Don't know.
I do.
Oh, that's okay.
I
Enterprise.
know exactly where it is, and there's 2 of them, Your Worship. Yeah. I was actually talking to the CEO 2 days ago. Yeah. Not you. The gold CEO.
On an enterprise.
Both in the Clutha district.
They're both in the Clutha district.
Yeah, so
that's fantastic.
There's one called the OPQ, and those of you that know the mighty metropolis of Waipori.
Where?
It's between the main road that runs, the lake's on the left of the road, the OPQ's on the right-hand side of the road when you get out there, and the other one they're talking about is at the head of the lake and runs for 5k back towards, say, Lawrence, back that way. And it's 100 metres deep as well.
When you say the head of the lake, is it the Waipori River end or the dam?
No, Waipori River end.
So you're excited for another Santana?
No, it's underground mining, so you won't have to worry about that.
Through the chair, I'd also like to add, if you've ever got any specific questions about the wonderful world of regulatory like you did, Roger, please just let us know and we're happy to answer them. Especially, it's always a lot easier if it's a specific case that we can look at and give you a clearer answer.
Especially when it's 4:30 in the afternoon. Thank you, Olivia. No further questions. Would someone like to move? You get all that, did you? The hands are flying up. So all those in favour?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you very much. At this point, item number 20, on page 203, item number 18, we will be moving into public excluded. Would someone like to move recommendations? We can take both at once. 1 and 2. If we can take recommendations 1 and 2, Councillor Smith, Councillor Kennedy, all those in favour?
Can I just
Unanimous.
Can I just ask a question on what's coming up? Does it really need to be in public exclusion?
Well, it is, the rates, the contract rates, commercially sensitive. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's the answer.